Tribute to hot dogs. There'll be plenty sold over the next 3 days. 3 sellouts. So far, the Great American Ballpark has sold out opening day. They've sold out bobblehead day for Marty Brennaman and Joe Nuxall, their 2 longtime announcers, and now all 3 games against the New York Yankees. So they're still filing into this ballpark right on the river here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's take a look at the New York Yankees starting lineup, which is presented by Dodge. Joe Torre put this baby together. Derek Jeter, the new Yankee captain, leads off. He plays shortstop. He has a 9-game hitting streak, during which time he's 12 for 43. Hideki Matsui, the center fielder, will bat second. Batting third and playing second base, Alfonso Soriano. Jason Giambi cleans up. He'll play first base. Batting fifth and catching, Jorge Posada. The third baseman, Robin Ventura, will hit sixth. Hitting seventh and playing right field, Raul Mondesi. Juan Rivera's in left field, batting eighth. And remember, there's no DH in the National League interleague games, so Andy Pettitte will pitch, and he will bat ninth.
Baseball the way it ought to be. And they're going to face Jimmy Haynes in his 6th start, looking for his first win. Check out the ERA. 37 hits, 6 home runs, too many walks. Let's check out the scouting report on the soon-to-be 31-year-old right-hander. He's a recycled Oriole. At one time, they thought in Baltimore he might be the next Jim Palmer. He had a magical year last year. Everything went right. He won 15 games. And Paul might even have a comment on Jimmy Haynes. He's hit against him, but the word is a decent fastball, not much movement, good curve, and a change.
You know, I don't know how many times you say it, Kitty, but here's one of those pitchers that has to be perfect to be successful. And if he makes mistakes, especially in this ballpark, he's going to give up a lot of runs, as his ERA will show you.
This ballpark does yield a lot of home runs, 85 so far, second most in the big leagues. Let's take a look at the Reds defense behind Jimmy Haynes. Adam Dunn is in left field. Ken Griffey Jr. plays center. Austin Kearns is over and right. In the infield, Aaron Boone at third. Felipe Lopez at short. Juan Castro plays second. Sean Casey at first. Jason LaRue is behind the plate. And Jimmy Haynes is on the mound. And this is Derek Jeter as he steps in for his first at-bat as the 11th Yankee captain in their history. Jeter with an 8-game hitting streak. And the pitch. There's a strike. A reminder, everybody, Yankee baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. Jeter grounds one to short. Lopez. One away. Now, Paul O'Neill's big here in Cincinnati. Huge. He came up as a Red, traded to the Yankees, had his greatest success as a Yankee, but he came out there looking all dapper and went up and away to Barry Larkin for the first pitch. That must have been a neat feeling, Paul.
It's been a weird feeling. I haven't been on a pitcher's mound since high school.
I'll tell you what, his fastball, I wish I had that in my best day. He hummed it in. And what was neat about seeing Paul and Barry, I recall being in this town when they were teammates on that 1990 team that won the World Series. That was a special year for both you guys.
Yeah, it's funny how, I mean, in New York, you're still living the dream. You know, they're still on this run, this and that. In Cincinnati, it's so different because everybody talks about, you know, the Big Red Machine back in the 70s, and then they jump straight to 1990, and then you don't talk anymore about after 1990.
It's been a rough stretch for the Reds. They've rebuilt. They've tried to do it on a shoestring budget, but now that they've moved into this ballpark, many expected that they would up the payroll a lot more. That has not been the case. Pitches outside, the count 2-1.
I think one of the problems when you talk payroll is that 2 players are taking up a lot of it. That's Barry Larkin, who's right now on the DH. Here he is in your picture, and I think you told Paul he'll be off the list in about a week, and then Ken Griffey Jr.
And to be fair, Ken Griffey Jr. actually took a lot less money to play here at home, so he's making a lot less than he could have somewhere else. But since coming here, he has certainly been hit with the injury bug, and that's really hurt the Reds. The 2-2. Chopped over the mound. Charging is Castro. Bare hands fires. Got him. Nice play. Juan Castro, 2 away.
Reds have not played particularly well in the field, but you couldn't tell it by this play. This is a very difficult play. Only way he could do it is barehanded in a nice stretch on the receiving end by Sean Casey.
You got one chance to get that guy there.
Yeah.
If you put the ball in your glove, he's safe. I mean, it's just an all or nothing. He made a great play.
Reds have committed 60 errors, and that's last in the American League for fielding percentage. Pitch to Soriano. There's a strike. check that. That's the last in the National League, not the last in the major leagues. And in this ballpark where the ball flies out, you want every out you could possibly get. Pitch is low.
Of course, Riverfront Stadium, where Paul played a lot of his baseball here, that was no day at the beach for pitchers. They got out of there pretty good in the hot weather too.
I tell you, when on hot days in Cincinnati, the ball really carries. But from what I understand, it doesn't matter, hot, cold, or indifferent here, it goes.
You see that river coming into view, and Paul, you might be able to comment on it. This is one of the things I heard before the game. You see the river out there behind the right field fence, and the current goes to the right of your screen, but the winds swirl and they go the opposite direction toward the left center field wall. And the word is, with that open area right there behind the right field fair pole, that's what helps the ball carry.
Grounded to Lopez. He fires low, scooped up nice by Casey, and Soriano hustling down the line is thrown out on the 6-3. So Haynes got 3 ground balls. Yankees go down 1-2-3. Reds coming to bat. Well, the Yankees have taken the field. Andy Pettitte's taking his warmer, so why not take a look at the Cincinnati Reds starting lineup, which is presented by Dodge. Adam Dunn, a most unlikely leadoff hitter, does just that for the Reds. He'll play left field, also leads the major leagues with 18 home runs. Sean Casey, the first baseman, will bat second. Batting third and playing center field, Ken Griffey Jr. Against Pettitte, a .375 batting average, 1 home run. Austin Kearns in right field will bat cleanup. Batting fifth and playing third base, Aaron Boone. Jason LaRue will catch. He'll bat sixth. Batting seventh and playing shortstop, Felipe Lopez. Juan Castro, the second baseman, bats eighth. And the number 9 hitter in the Reds lineup is the pitcher, Jimmy Haynes.
And Andy Pettitte is the pitcher for the Yankees. Start number 12. Record level at 5-5, coming off a good outing against the Boston Red Sox. And the word is, you better be at the top of your game or near it against this Cincinnati lineup. They have been extremely tough on mediocre pitching. There's the scouting report. Interleague advantage. I think anytime you face a team that has not seen the pitcher, you have the advantage. Of course, Ken Griffey Jr. has seen him a lot, and he's regained confidence after his last start. And I think Andy right now has a much better fastball than he did early in the year.
Here's Adam Dunn, leads the major leagues in home runs, and he's the leadoff batter. And the pitch is a strike.
That's a pretty imposing.
I tell you what, if you're pitching tonight and this guy leads off, what do you expect next?
Felipe Lopez had been leading off, but he was abysmal in that spot, so they decided to give Adam Dunn a try. Adam Dunn leads the majors with 18 home runs. Soriano got most of his 17 from the leadoff spot, tied with Richie Sexson of the Brewers for second in the bigs. Count 1-2.
Some of the comparisons to Adam Dunn, some of the names, or a name that gets thrown around, is Dave Kingman. Can you imagine Kingman leading off? I mean, Dunn is 6'6", a lot of power, not particularly adept in the field, certainly not blessed with great speed like Kingman didn't have any either.
Just missed a double down the first baseline. With his 18 home runs at this point, he's on pace for 52, which would tie the Cincinnati record set by George Foster back in 1977. Reds leadoff hitters, .227 average. That's the lowest in the National League. National League average is .271 from this spot. That one just missed.
You know, throughout the league, there's a few guys that you just want to come out early and watch them hit batting practice. And Dunn's that guy in the National League. You walk out there today, and he's just launching one after the other. It's a blast to watch them.
The 2-2. That one is laced into left field. Right there is Rivera. One away. Let's take a look at the umpires today. Ed Montague is behind the plate. Brian Gorman at first. Bruce Dreckman is at second, and Brian Runge is over at third.
I think Brian Gorman has a brother who is a basketball official, does he not, in the NBA? Of course, Eddie Montague, been around for a long time.
There were some days I wish he was a basketball official. There's a day you don't get along with those guys. Go over there with your brother, you know.
Here's Sean Casey.
Of course, for you trivia buffs, Eddie Montague's claim to fame, his dad was responsible for signing Willie Mays for the then New York Giants.
Nice thing to have on your resume. The 1-0. Low.
You know, you think about Dunn leading off, and then you've got Casey, and then you've got Griffey. That's kind of an unorthodox way to go about hitting Andy Pettitte, bringing 3 left-handers in there. You don't see that very often.
Knowing Bob Boone as I do from being a teammate of his and knowing he went to Stanford, being a bright guy, I think Boone looked at the stat sheets and said, hey, left-hand hitters hit Pettitte pretty well. And so he's going to run 3 of them up there right off the bat.
And the 2-1. Hit sharply right side. Nice stop there by Soriano. Fires to Giambi. They got him.
What a play.
Soriano showing incredible range to the glove side, and then Giambi showing a lot of dexterity to get back to the bag.
Yeah, it looked like Jason was going to go for it. You see him stumble. And then Soriano, an equally good play was Giambi by getting back to the bag and making the catch. Well, the second baseman put on quite a show here in the first inning.
You know, it's funny because on a new field, you don't know what kind of hops you're going to get. That they've done a great job. I talked to Tino when he was in town at first base, and he went over and over and over on how well the field played. And it's across the street over here right next to us, Paul Brown Stadium, when they built that thing, the marching band came out one day and put divots. I mean, it looked like a polo field. They had to replace divots, but they've done a great job on this field.
Here's Griffey. And the pitch is a strike.
And of course, for years, Riverfront Stadium had that AstroTurf that was the oldest AstroTurf and the fastest AstroTurf in baseball.
And the hitters loved it. It was fast.
Griffey only now starting to get his stroke down. The thing with Griffey is when he came back from the dislocated right shoulder, he doesn't go on rehab assignments. And you see where he is home run wise, the fastest to 450. He was 31 years old and 261 days. So Griffey is actually rounding into shape in the big leagues. There he hits a ground ball to Giambi. Giambi will take it himself, and that'll do it. Just like Haynes, Pettitte turns in a 1-2-3 first inning. We played one here at the Great American Ballpark. 0-0. You know, a long time ago, Paul O'Neill was actually young. And when he was young, he was in a Cincinnati Red. Look how you destroyed that wall, Paul.
Had to build a new ballpark, right?
And then you gun down Andy Van Slyke, just make him feel old right there. Then you steal bases with the Reds. Did sometimes with the Yankees. Nice hair, too. And then the bomb.
Well, he stole bases with the Yankees.
Yes, he did. He had a 20-20.
Oldest guy to have 20-20. He was 32.
Make you feel old?
Doesn't make you feel young, yeah.
There's a pitch to Giambi, a strike.
Come on, Michael. 1-0. Tell him.
Paul and I play this game between innings where we have to name the artist of a song that they play over the loudspeaker system, so he hit me with Peter Frampton. That one's hit deep to right field. Going back is Kearns looking up. See ya! A long home run for Jason Giambi. And the Yankees lead 1-0. Giambi's 12th home run of the year.
I think Jimmy Haynes was with Oakland, and probably when Giambi was with her, he probably knows a lot about him.
Pitch on the outside part of the plate, but he still pulled it, Paul.
Yeah, that's a good sign that he's staying on the ball. You come off that ball, you're going to ground it out. The reason I brought up Peter Frampton is kind of a funny story. I work out with him. He's a Cincinnati resident now.
Really?
And I actually, you get beat up so bad in this game, was going to bring him up in the booth tonight because he's singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game later here in Cincinnati. So I figured you might need his help before the night's over.
Is that the only gig he could get, singing Take Me Out to the
He heard Michael Kay, and he said, I'm up there. I'm up there.
We'll continue this game through these 3 days. And the 2-0 to Posada. See, but one thing that Paul O'Neill doesn't understand is I have to keep my headset on between innings to listen to what they're saying in the truck for instructions. You could walk around, talk to people, shake hands, listen to music.
I'm just like the Yankees. I'm up 1-0.
Nice. Let's see if they green light Posada. takes all the way, 3-1. So Giambi, who looked like he was starting to come out of it in Detroit, he had a 2-home run game on Friday night. Picks up a home run here in the first game of these 3. Did he go? Yes, he did. Brian Runge rings him up, so they count 3-2. Way inside, and Posada walks. Haynes was on the DL from April 18th until May 26th. He had a bulging disc in his back, and this is his second start off the DL. But Red starters have not done well so far this year. The starters are 10-24 with a 6.55 ERA, and the only team with a worse ERA in baseball is the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at 6.59.
When you look around baseball, particularly the National League Central, there are not a lot of what you call all-around solid teams. Every team has some strength, like the Cubs have starting pitching. They don't score a lot of runs. Houston probably is the best all-around team in that division when they get their starting pitchers healthy. And the Reds are one of those teams. They have great hitters. They're kind of like an American League team from that standpoint, but a mediocre bullpen and poor starting pitching.
That one is lofted to the left side. Aaron Boone in foul territory, and he puts it away for the first out of the inning. You know, I wonder if you can win a division or if you can win a championship in a ballpark like this, because your pitchers are going to get hit. You're going to score a lot of runs, but the other team's going to score a lot of runs as well. And you always say you can't win pennants 10-8, 9-7, and you wonder if this ballpark would ever yield a division winner.
Guy you saw in your picture right there, Don Goulet, he's the pitching coach here, has been now, I believe, for 11 years, 11th year is the organization, and a one-time Yankee as well. But he was really the ace for the Reds in '76, and they did it primarily with hitting, but they had a little more dependable bullpen, I think, during the Big Red Machine days. Boy, there was one of the great young pitchers. He came up, career rather short because of an arm injury.
Well, he's one of those Reds that we talked about, Paul O'Neill being another that was on a champion with the Reds and then a champion with the Yankees.
If you look at the ballpark, we keep going over and over how short. I mean, the dimensions aren't small. The ball carries, but you know, if you're going to play in a ballpark where there's runs scored, I mean, you
strike 3, Mondesi down looking.
You try to tailor your team to how you can win at home. I mean, you play 81 games on the road, and you play 81 games in one stadium. I mean, back in the days with you know, the speedsters on that turf in St. Louis and Kansas City, they made so much hay. Hey, Johnny.
Johnny bench.
Saw John before the game today coming up the elevator, just coming off hip surgery, which has sidelined his golf game for a little while. Part of that Big Red Machine in the mid-'70s.
But getting back, I mean, how many times have the Yankees brought in big left-handed hitters, left-handed pitchers to try to keep the other team from pulling the ball down the right field line? And there's no doubt it can help you win games at home.
It just seems that everybody talks about this ballpark, and there's really no place for a pitcher to pitch. That the ball flies out everywhere, and it is a launching pad. There's a line drive to center field, the base hit for Juan Rivera. Posada will stop at second. Griffey gets the ball into Lopez.
Well, it's a launching pad, but as Paul pointed out earlier, Jimmy Haynes has to be very precise to be effective. He does not have a lot of movement. See where the catcher's target is, and it moves right across the middle of the plate. Now, Roger Clemens, Mike Messina, David Wells, they might get by with a pitch like that. They got a little movement on the ball. Not Jimmy Haynes. Not enough late life, not enough late movement. So you just, it's not that you can't pitch here, you just have to pitch exceptionally well to be effective here.
Now, you give me the Yankees starting 5, and I guarantee I can win in Cincinnati in this ballpark. I mean, good pitchers get people out. I don't care where they're pitching.
Hideo Nomo pitched a no-hitter in Coors Field. I thought that was an impossible task.
Along with Jim Cott and Paul O'Neill, I'm Michael Kay. Top of the second inning here at the Great American Ballpark. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Yes Network, and on a Giambi home run, Yankees lead 1-0.
Wow, I tell you what, you'd have heard something if he made contact. That was a pretty good swing, Paul.
I talked to him yesterday. I said, don't you throw out a pitcher's hack tonight. He was so excited to hit tonight. I mean, the pitchers get so much into these interleague games where they get to swing the bat.
He had a good swing at that pitch.
He's 2 for 21 lifetime at the plate.
To remind him about that.
1-1. There's a ground ball to second base. Castro over to first, and that'll do it as Haynes escapes further trouble. Well, the Yankees get on the board. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left. The big blow, though, on the bat of Jason Giambi. Giambi's 12th home run of the year. A long drive to right center field. We go to the bottom of the second. 1-0 Yankees. The New Jersey Nets are heading to the NBA Finals, and Yes is your inside source for extended Nets coverage. Stay with Yes tomorrow night and after every Finals game for special post-game coverage with Fred Hickman, Ian Eagle, Kelly Tripucka, and Leslie Bogosian. For insight, interviews, and in-depth analysis of the series with the Spurs, it's the Nets post-game tomorrow after the Nets-Spurs game right here on Yes. That should be a great series. Nets the Eastern Division champions and the Spurs the Western Division champions, and that's a best of 7 to see who will be the NBA champs. Right here we go to the bottom of the second inning. Yankees lead 1-0. Jason Giambi's home run in the top of the second was the first run on the board.
I've been looking forward to watching this young man play for 3 games. He said he is a legitimate star of the future. Can hit, can run, can field.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's Soriano last year, just starting to come into his own where, you know, a couple years down the road he might be hitting 40 home runs for you.
He's got 49 runs batted in, which is tops in the National League. He's tied with Preston Wilson of the Rockies for that honor. And he's the cleanup hitter for the Reds. Reds are 27 and 29, which is good for 4th in the Central, 3.5 off the pace. Nobody's pulled away. The Cubs are in first place, just 5 games over.
Boy, when you look at that swing there, you can appreciate the potential. I mean, he's got such quiet hands, and he waits till the very last minute. Good power and a good approach. By good approach for a young hitter, he's very disciplined. Reminds me a lot of what Scott Rowland was like in his early years.
And the 0-2. Chop foul the other way.
Hit .315 last year and was, I believe, 3rd in the Rookie of the Year balloting in the National League.
Definitely gets his swings in. He's not up there looking, that's for sure.
And the 0-2. Swung and a missed. He struck him out with a high fastball. 1 away.
Well, let's see how Pettitte and Posada went at him. Good curve in for a strike. A little late. A little late. And that's good pitch sequence. When a guy has not shown you that he can pull your fastball, you know, don't throw him anything slow to speed up his bat. Just keep pouring it in there, and that's what they did.
Pitch to Aaron Boone is high. Chop toward first. Tough play for Giambi. Knocks it down. Beats Boone to the bag. 2 away.
Now you can almost see by the way the Reds hitters are swinging, Paul, there's so much emphasis. Scouting reports are saying, I wonder if they've said, hey, this guy's got a good cutter and a good change, because they're late on his fastball.
Yeah, a lot of Andy Pettitte's not a true cutter pitcher anymore. He's got a great sinker, and he can throw the ball a little bit harder when he wants to. So if you go up there looking for one pitch, every pitch he's going to beat you. And that's you're right. When you don't face these guys day in and day out, you got to go on scouting reports.
Here's Jason LaRue, and the pitch is inside.
Yeah, I think he's had a better curveball this year than he has the past couple years. He's thrown a lot more too.
He had a good one against the Red Sox in his last start. Well, pitcher like Pettitte, well, you go over his repertoire and you say he's got 4 pitches: fastball, curveball, cutter, change. Invariably, when a pitcher pitches a solid game and you look at the chart, 70 to 75% of the pitches are still fastballs. That's still the best pitch in the game. You can throw it to all 4 quadrants of the strike zone.
Swing and a miss.
Just like that. And let me ask you, Paul, when you were hitting late in the game, wasn't a mediocre breaking ball easier to see and catch up with than a fastball?
Oh, I mean, especially when you bring in the hard throwers. I mean, they're just doing you a favor by taking speed off. I mean, it's the fastball can be broken down into different pitches too. It's just not a fast. I mean, you've got one that sinks, one that cuts, one that, you know, can come in this way or that way, and all of a sudden you're like a hockey goalie up there. You're trying to just cover the whole thing, and that's what a good pitcher will do by just moving the ball around.
And the 2-2 missed outside. The count 3-2 on Jason LaRue. Felipe Lopez is on deck. And the 3-2 pitch. Popped him up in the infield. Soriano on the outfield grass. He puts it away for the final out of the inning. So through 2, Andy Pettitte has been perfect. Another 1-2-3 inning. We head to the top of the 3rd. 1-0 Yankees. The New Jersey Nets are heading to the NBA Finals, and Yes is your inside source for extended Nets coverage. Stay with Yes tomorrow night and after every Finals game for special post-game coverage with Fred Hickman, Ian Eagle, Kelly Tripucka, and Leslie Bogosian. For insight, interviews, and in-depth analysis of the series with the Spurs, it's the Nets post-game tomorrow after the Nets-Spurs game right here on Yes. That should be a great series. Nets the Eastern Division champions and the Spurs the Western Division champions, and that's a best of 7 to see who will be the NBA champs. Right here we go to the bottom of the 2nd inning. Yankees lead 1-0. Jason Giambi's home run in the top of the 2nd was the first run on the board.
I've been looking forward to watching this young man play for 3 games. He said he is a legitimate star of the future. Can hit, can run, can field.
There's no doubt. I mean, he's Soriano last year, just starting to come into his own where, you know, a couple years down the road he might be hitting 40 home runs for you.
He's got 49 runs batted in, which is tops in the National League. He's tied with Preston Wilson of the Rockies for that honor. And he's the cleanup hitter for the Reds. Reds are 27-29, which is good for 4th in the Central, 3.5 off the pace. Nobody's pulled away. The Cubs are in first place, just 5 games over.
Boy, when you look at that swing there, you can appreciate the potential. I mean, he's got such quiet hands, and he waits till the very last minute. Good power and a good approach. By good approach for a young hitter, he's very disciplined. Reminds me a lot of what Scott Rowland was like in his early years.
And the 0-2. Chop foul the other way.
Hit .315 last year and was, I believe, 3rd in the Rookie of the Year balloting in the National League.
Definitely gets his swings in. He's not up there looking, that's for sure.
And the 0-2. Swung and a miss. He struck him out with a high fastball. 1 away.
Well, let's see how Pettitte and Posada went at him. Good curve in for a strike. A little late. A little late. And that's good pitch sequence. When a guy has not shown you that he can pull your fastball, you know, don't throw him anything slow to speed up his bat. Just keep pouring it in there, and that's what they did.
Pitch to Aaron Boone is high. Chop toward first. Tough play for Giambi. Knocks it down. Beats Boone to the bag. 2 away.
Now you can almost see by the way the Reds hitters are swinging, Paul, there's so much emphasis, scouting reports and stuff. I wonder if they've said, hey, this guy's got a good cutter and a good change, because they're late on his fastball.
Yeah, a lot of Andy Pettitte's not a true cutter pitcher anymore. He's got a great sinker, and he can throw the ball a little bit harder when he wants to. So if you go up there looking for one pitch, every pitch he's going to beat you. And that's you're right. When you don't face these guys day in and day out, you got to go on scouting reports.
Here's Jason LaRue, and the pitch is inside.
Yeah, I think he's had a better curveball this year than he has the past couple of years. He's thrown a lot more too.
He had a good one against the Red Sox in his last start. Well, a pitcher like Pettitte, well, you go over his repertoire and you say he's got 4 pitches: fastball, curveball, cutter, change. Invariably, when a pitcher pitches a solid game and you look at the chart, 70 to 75% of the pitches are still fastballs. That's still the best pitch in the game. You can throw it to all 4 quadrants of the strike zone.
Swing and a miss.
Just like that. And let me ask you, Paul, when you were hitting late in the game, wasn't a mediocre breaking ball easier to see and catch up with than a fastball?
I mean, especially when you bring in the hard throwers. I mean, they're just doing you a favor by taking speed off. I mean, it's the fastball can be broken down into different pitches too. It's just not a fast. I mean, you've got one that sinks, one that cuts, one that can come in this way or that way, and all of a sudden you're like a hockey goalie up there. You're trying to just cover the whole thing, and that's what a good pitcher will do by just moving the ball around.
And the 2-2 missed outside. The count 3-2 on Jason LaRue. Felipe Lopez is on deck. And the 3-2 pitch. Popped him up in the infield. Soriano on the outfield grass. He puts it away for the final out of the inning. So through 2, Andy Pettitte has been perfect. Another 1-2-3 inning. We head to the top of the 3rd. 1-0 Yankees. Three hours before game time, Derek Jeter was part of a major press conference by the New York Yankees where they named him the 11th captain in the organization's history. And Derek Jeter took it seriously. You could see he was humbled by it. And here are some of his words at the press conference.
Well, obviously, it goes without saying how great of an honor it is for me to be here and be named the 11th captain in Yankee history. I mean, we just look at the guys that have preceded me. Willow's here today, but they're all great people. Obviously, they're great baseball players, but they're great people. And it goes without saying that this is an honor that's not thrown around too lightly in this organization. So, I understand it's a responsibility. It's a responsibility to the fans. It's a responsibility to the media, to my teammates, more importantly, to the entire organization. So I'd like to thank the boss, obviously, for giving me this title, and it's something that I will always treasure, and I'll do it to the best of my ability.
The captaincy of the Yankees has been vacant since the end of the 1995 season. That time Don Mattingly retired. He was the last Yankee captain. Now Derek Jeter, captain number 11. Slow ground ball, left side. Boone fields, fires, got him. One away.
The key word when you look at that list, and Paul's known a lot of them, is when you think of a captain, you think of a good person, particularly with you go back to Thurman, Nettles, Willie, Ron Guidry, Don Mattingly, and Derek, the half a dozen that I know personally, and it goes beyond just their playing ability. And for all practical purposes, he's been the captain the last 3-4 years without the official title.
Pitch to Matsui is a strike. Joe Torre was asked if he knew early that Derek Jeter had those type of tendencies to be a leader. And he said, well, in his rookie year in '96, Jeter made a big error in game 1 against the Texas Rangers. And a lot of the writers said, are you going to talk to Jeter because of the enormity of the events and maybe calm him down for game 2? And Torre was honest and said, I don't know. I'll have to gauge to see how he's going to feel. Well, Jeter walks past Torre's office at the end of each game in order to leave the ballpark. And Jeter was walking by Torre's office that night, stuck his head in and said, you better get some rest, Skip. You got a big game tomorrow. And Joe Torre said, right then I knew he was going to be fine.
And the players that can turn the page the fastest are the best players.
I'm trying to think of, and George could answer this question, did he name Don Mattingly? It's not very often that an owner names the captain. Usually it's a, a manager will look around his team. There's a resume on Derek Jeter, 4-time World Series champ, MVP in 2000, 101 career postseason hits, and a 5-time All-Star, and he's just a kid.
And the 2-2 swung on and missed. Matsui down on strikes. Matsui really struggling right now. 0 for his last 2, 0 for 2 tonight, and more recently 2 for his last 17.
Paul, what could you tell him? You're a left-hand. Watch how he pulls off the ball.
Yeah, it just looks like, I mean, he's frustrated and he's trying to do too much, trying to pull the ball. And I don't think he's a pull hitter. I think he needs to stay out in the middle of the field and, hit your base hits to left field, and hopefully he'll come around and hit some home runs. But this team doesn't need him to hit 40 home runs to be successful, and I think they need to let him know that.
Here's Soriano.
I think Joe has let him know that, but I wonder whether the fact that he was a 50 home run hitter in Japan, and there's all the hype about he's going to hit home runs, whether deep down in he's saying, I got to supply some power. And you're right. He's a gap-to-gap hitter. He's a line drive hitter. He was since we saw him in spring training.
There's a high pop-up, right center field. Kearns is there, so is Griffey. Griffey with the call, Griffey with the catch for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning at the Great American Ballpark. Yankees 1, Reds nothing. Coming Sunday, June 15th, is the premiere of the Yes Network special, The Short List. 5 great Yankees shortstops. Tune in as Yes salutes the men who stand tall in the infield with a celebration of Phil Rizzuto, Gil McDougall, Tony Kubek, Bucky Dent, and Derek Jeter. Yankee fans won't want to miss the premiere of The Short List. 5 great Yankees shortstops. Sunday, June 15th, only on Yes. While Andy Pettitte has made short order of the Reds, 6 up, 6 down over the first 2. Bottom 3rd of the order now, and Felipe Lopez will start it off. There's a strike. Lopez had been leading off, and Bob Boone had seen enough. Just wasn't getting on base enough. Overall, right now, he's hitting .219, so he dropped him out of that slot.
Yeah, he's going to have to hit to prove that Jim Bowden made a good move with that trade for Elmer Dessens. He might have been their best pitcher, and they got Lopez from Toronto. Here's a guy that was a pretty high draft pick, and yet Toronto unloaded him rather soon. That might tell you something. He's just not been able to make contact so far. He's kind of looks like he's overmatched by big league pitching.
They decided to go with Chris Woodward, who was a very low round draft pick, so it does tell you something. There's the 2-2.
In fact, Bob Boone down in the Florida series, which I saw some of down there at Pro Player, he played a youngster named Ray Olmedo in place of Lopez. Not much of a hitter, but a good fielder.
Way outside.
Barry Larkin had a lot to do with it. I mean, he's coming to the end of his career as an organization. You got to look out there and possibly he's take a chance on somebody to fill that gap, because I mean, he's been their star player, and now he's getting ready to step down from that.
3-2 pitch, fouled away.
Is this going to be his last year for certain? I read in the paper here the other day that they wanted him to stay on at a different role, as possibly a role player. He might even move over to first, play some games at short, but be part of the the organization and the leadership of the team.
Strike 3. Lopez down looking. Strikeout number 2 for Pettitte. Out number 1 in this inning.
Looked like he froze him with a fastball. Posada steps up inside, but this is really right down the center of the plate, just a little above the knees. The only thing you can think of when a hitter takes a pitch like that on 3-2, he had to be looking for something other than a fastball.
Yeah, as a manager, you kind of just scratch your head at that. I mean, you're 3-2, you get a fastball right down the middle. What else could you possibly be looking for? But as a hitter, you get confused up there sometimes.
That's the beauty. One of the beauties of this game. Pitchers, you respect hitters, but for the most part, pitchers tend to give hitters too much credit. Hitters tend to give pitchers too much credit.
Second baseman Juan Castro at the plate, the 0-1. Foul back.
Sometimes you get caught trying. In fact, I think you asked me about that on the last game we were doing, about, well, if a hitter's thinking this and a pitcher's doing that, a pitcher can't do the hitter's thinking for him, and vice versa. You just go with your strength and whatever it is and let the hitter do his own thinking. I think it was the case where Andy actually walked Jeremy Giambi on a 3-1 slider with a lead and said, you know, there's where you got to make him put the ball in play. And you were saying, well, if you think he's looking fastball, why wouldn't you throw him a slider? And you know, you don't want to. You just want to go with your strength and play the percentages and pitch to the scoreboard.
1-0 Yankees lead. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Juan Castro, the number 8 hitter in the lineup, against Pettitte. 2-2.
There's different types of hitters, and I mean, Kitty, you know, there's guess hitters, and there's guys that just see the ball and adjust to it. And I would think pitching, you want that guess hitter, because if you get them guessing and you can kind of get in their rhythm, they're outs. But that guy that can see the ball and adjust to it, those are going to be your toughest outs.
Just missed outside. Did you ever guess at the plate?
I hated guessing. It seems like every time I guessed wrong. And I knew some guys that were great. Tino Martinez was great at it. Don Mattingly was very good at it. When they knew where the pitch was coming, they knew it, and they didn't miss it. But there were so many times. I remember going back to kind of guessing, and you know, everybody tips pitches. Everybody's trying to get this. And Barry Larkin had a home run off Dwight Gooden when Dwight Gooden was Dwight Gooden in with the Mets, throwing about 95, and they thought they had his changeup. Well, I was up after that, and I saw him hold his glove open and look for that changeup. And he threw that changeup about 96 right by my nose. That was the last time I was going to, you know, look for that pitch being tipped.
Castro battling Pettitte. Pettitte's locked in, peering in from underneath the bill of the cap. The 3-2. Another foul ball.
That's the job of a number 8 hitter, and he's doing a good job of it right now with that pitcher coming up next. You want to make that pitcher on the mound work as hard as possible, and if possible, get on and allow him to bunch you over.
And the 3-2. Driven out to deep right field. Going back, Mondesi still back on the track. He makes the play in front of the wall for the 2nd out of the inning. So Castro battled and almost won the battle.
Pretty good pop to the opposite field. And this close enough, I guess, to the line right in front of the synergy sign. I think anything in the gap and toward center and left center supposedly carries better. Mondesi, you can see him with his open hand. And we saw Paul O'Neill do that plenty during history. He's kind of feeling for the wall back there, isn't he? Just to make sure he knows where he is.
Yeah, new ballpark, you don't know. Sometimes you can get lost out there.
Haynes swings and misses.
The new ballparks are all they're open air, what I'm saying. They're not completely round. There's open, you know, and sometimes they can make that ball react differently. And knew where he was there.
Kind of like Toronto when the dome is closed, dome is open. It's entirely different, isn't it?
No doubt. Yankee Stadium, I mean, it's a full stadium, but it's low enough out in, you know, in the alleys that the wind can affect the ball a lot. The old, you know, the 70s ballpark, old Riverfront in Pittsburgh, Three River Stadium. Michael, if that comes in here, you are going to snatch it.
I'm here for you.
He's got us covered. He's got us covered.
Yeah, it was a lot truer. You didn't have the wind tunnels because they were completely enclosed, big round stadiums. Cookie cutter ballparks,
right.
Didn't they call them that?
Glad they got rid of.
When they opened up Riverfront, obviously you were a kid in Cincinnati. Was it like unbelievable? Did they think it was the greatest thing? You look at the dimensions of this place.
Yeah, it was. I mean, every time you open a stadium, I mean, it's exciting for the city. And like we said, the dimensions aren't that. They're not small. It's just that the ball carries well here. But you know, with the AstroTurf, that was the name of the game back then. And then they figured out how bad it was for the players. But it's so much better to see people playing on grass.
Well, as a tribute to Riverfront Stadium, dead center here at Great American Ballpark is the exact distance as Riverfront, 404 feet. And the 1-2. Oh, he looked awful at the plate. Tried to check his swing, and he goes down for the 3rd strikeout for Pettitte. It's not pretty to go down like that.
All you can do is laugh at that swing.
1-2-3 inning for Andy Pettitte. The first 9 Reds have come to the plate. The first 9 Reds have gone down in order. Yankees lead 1-0 as we go to the 4th here on Yes. Top of the 4th inning means it's time for the Aflac trivia question. Derek Jeter is the 11th captain in New York Yankees history. Who had the longest and the shortest tenures as a Yankees captain? We'll tell you that in the bottom of the 4th inning. And let me tell you, the guy who had the shortest tenure really had a short tenure. And we will detail that in the bottom of the 4th. That's Kentucky on the other side of the Ohio River. Yet did a long home run to get to Kentucky.
You know, we're actually, this is what I've been told. Kentucky starts right in the middle of the river. We get half of it in Ohio, and they get half of it. I don't know what side's better, but it's pretty muddy on both sides. But that's where the state line is, right in the middle of the river.
That's not fair because the river's called the Ohio River.
That's because we're a better state than them, right?
Gotcha.
We got the Buckeyes.
They got the Wildcats.
We won the national championship, though.
Were you going to Ohio State if you didn't get signed?
No, I was going down to Florida. I was going to pitch for Robin Roberts down at the University of South Florida. Kitty, you know that name.
Yeah, sure do.
Hall of Fame pitcher. He was down there coaching, and it was funny because he was recruiting me to pitch. I pitched all through high school, and then when I was drafted, I assumed I was going to be a pitcher too. And my dad asked the scout, how long do you think it'll be before he's on the mound in Cincinnati? He said, well, if he signs with us, he never will be. He's going to be in the outfield. And so we went on from there.
And you did end up getting on the mound for 2 innings.
Yeah, well, 1 inning was good. The 2nd inning, I kind of ran out of gas. You ever feel that way, Kitty?
Oh, more than once.
Giambi, the only run in this game, a leadoff home run in the 2nd here, leading off the 4th inning. Popped up. Left center field, Adam Dunn coming in. 1 away. This is a pretty special date in Yankee history. To be special for Derek Jeter, but another Yankee captain, Lou Gehrig, became the first player to hit 4 home runs in a game as the Yankees beat Philadelphia 20-13. And that was in 1932 on June 3rd.
Man, and they didn't even have the DH then. 20-13.
62 years ago yesterday, Lou Gehrig passed away at the age of 37. The Iron Horse. And after Lou Gehrig, the Yankees did not have a captain until Thurman Munson. Pitched to Jorge Posada's low.
Yeah, and I was, that's right about the time that George Steinbrenner bought the ball club, wasn't it?
Well, he bought the ball club in 73, and Munson was named on April 17th of 76.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering whether George has named all of the Yankee captains.
Well, he's named Munson, Nettles, Guidry, Randolph, Mattingly, and Jeter.
He's named it?
Yes.
Okay, because, you know, that's unusual. Most, you know, most organizations, the manager would name the captain. But George has named them all and named Derek today.
Let's see if they green light Posada. The 3-0. He takes, and it's away, so he walks for the 2nd time tonight.
Did you like to hit 3-0, Paul?
You know, I always like to have the sign, but you can do nothing but second-guess yourself if you don't hit a home run. There's just so many things that can go wrong. You're better off early in the game, early in an inning like that, to make this pitcher work. I mean, he's going to dig him. You know, if he walks, he's going to dig himself a hole, and it's just. I always try to do too much. I ended up grounding out or popping up. I think one time in my career I had a home run 3-0.
Here's Robin Ventura.
I played with a great Hall of Famer, Harmon Killebrew, and he was the same way. You know, he could hit on 3-0 if he wanted to, but he just said, I'm going to be a little anxious and, you know, swing at a pitch I shouldn't. I'd rather take a strike, and then you feel comfortable on 3-1. Now, here's a guy I would think, just from watching his style and watching him hit, that would be a good 3-0 hitter because he's so relaxed all the time, Robin Ventura.
Yeah, there's definitely certain guys that can zero in. I mean, Barry Bonds. I mean, if he gets the pitch he's looking for, he does not miss it, and he won't go out of that zone. A guy that will go out of, you know, and hit any part of the ball, the plate, is a guy that can get in trouble swinging at 3-0.
Bobby Mercer always said he never liked to hit at 3-0. He said because he'd get the same pitch on 3-1.
Really?
That's what he said. He said he hated to hit on 3-0. Too much pressure. He said everybody expects you to hit a home run. Runner goes. Pitch is swung on and grounded to first. Casey fields. He'll take it on first. And moving to second is Posada. So the Yankees stayed out of the double play by sending the runner. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees. So 2 down, and that'll bring up Raul Mondesi. A lot of Yankee fans in the ballpark today.
I couldn't believe it walking in here. There's Jeter shirts, there's Yankee things. I called my wife. I said, where are you sitting? She said, I'm not in my seat yet. I'm buying a Yankee t-shirt.
Wow.
Mondesi rockets one down the left field line, but foul.
It kind of reminds me when I was a kid, you'd go to see the Harlem Globetrotters play. You know, wherever the Globetrotters went, they attracted big crowds, and that's really what the Yankees, I tell you what, they put a lot of money in other organizations' pockets when they come to town, not only with the people in the seats, but like Paul said, with the merchandise.
Well, Detroit was proof positive. Yankees came in, the Tigers were averaging 15,000 a game at Comerica, which is just awful. The first night almost 30, the second night 25, and then on Sunday when Roger Clemens was going for his 300th victory, they got 44,000, the largest crowd in the history of the ballpark.
It's pretty interesting now. I mean, living in Cincinnati, you see it from the other side of the fence. When you're playing and you're traveling, you go from city to city. I mean, they've been writing this up in the papers for a week. The Yankees are coming to town. I mean, there's been a buzz in Cincinnati about seeing players, you know, Giambi and Jeter and Pettitte and Rocket. I mean, and as a player, you don't realize this is going on, but being, you know, living here in Cincinnati, you just see how important it is to bring the Yankees into play.
1-2, check swing, ground ball, first base. Casey to the bag for the final out of the inning, and Mondesi continues his struggles. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Yankees 1, Reds nothing. Well, you know that Derek Jeter was named the 11th captain in Yankee history before the game. The Aflac trivia question was about who had the longest and shortest tenures as a Yankee captain. Let's take a look. The longest is Roger Peckinpah, 7 years. The shortest, Babe Ruth, 5 days. What do you think the Babe did to tick somebody off? 5 days. Okay, you're the captain. Yeah. Now you're not.
Yeah. I can think of many reasons, maybe.
Pitch to Adam Dunn is inside.
Hey, I don't want to preempt our trivia question for the next couple days, but what would be a great trivia question when these two teams get together is in the 1976 World Series, when the Big Red Machine swept through the Yankees hit 1 home run.
I know the answer.
Sure, but that's very unusual because you don't, first of all, you don't think of this guy as a Yankee, and you certainly wouldn't think of him hitting the home run. Now, if that isn't our trivia question for the next couple days, and we'll tell him the answer.
Okay.
I got to wait 2 days because I don't know. I have no clue.
Really? Well,
Yeah.
that's before your time. 76. Let's see. You were
about 15.
You were watching the Big Red Machine. Right?
Now, between innings here at Great American Ballpark, and they do this in a lot of ballparks, they have what's called the kiss cam. See Johnny Bench there, who played in that 76 series, and what they do is they put people on the screen, and the crowd wants to get you to kiss your partner. So 2 people sitting together, and they goad them into kissing. So it's called the kiss cam, and it's all around the country. A lot of ballparks do it. 2-2. Strike 3, inside corner, Dunn down looking.
Looked like a cutter that was designed to be outside, but he actually picked off the inside corner. Well, they are coming inside. Wow, and it was a cutter. That's a pitch that we're beginning to see pitchers use a little more, and that was always a dangerous pitch. I mean, obviously, if a hitter is looking for that, that's a very easy pitch to pull. We see Mariano Rivera do it. Now Andy Pettitte just kind of freezes the hitter.
By the way, before we get to the kiss cam story, I do want to tell you that the reason Babe Ruth, and they referred to this on the pregame show, the reason Babe Ruth had a 5-day run as Yankee captain, he chased a fan in the stands at the Polo Grounds.
That'll I can't see Derek Jeter doing that.
No.
Those were usually the Ty Cobb stories,
right,
not the Babe Ruth stories.
Anyway, why don't you tell the rest of the kiss cam story, Paul?
I'm watching the news here, and they put this guy and his girlfriend or wife, I don't know, on the kiss cam, and it just so happened that he had done something wrong. He was on parole or something like. Well, it just so happened that his
hot shot on the glove of Soriano goes all the way into right field. We'll see how they score that.
Scored a hard hit ball, I tell you that.
And they give him a base hit.
Yeah, it would have taken a lot of nerve for Soriano to give up his body on that one. That thing was scorched. Stayed with it as long as he could and then tried to field it to the side.
Yeah, back to the kiss cam. Well, the guy, they put him on the screen, and his parole officer was in the stands. And the guy, he got arrested by the end of the game for being on kiss cam.
He got kissed okay. Here's Ken Griffey Jr. and the pitch outside. There's the kiss cam. Got to be careful. 1-0 Yankees were in the bottom of the 4th inning. Griffey grounded out to first. That was in the first. Lined into left center field. That is going to fall in for a base hit. Rivera cuts the ball off. He'll fire into second as Casey goes to third. That's a single for Griffey, and the Reds have runners on the corners and 1 out.
Paul, we were talking about Hideki Matsui and his problems. Check out how Griffey keeps the front shoulder in, and that's what enables a guy to be in position to pull the ball if it's inside, and yet, I mean, that's a pretty good looking swing right there.
Right, and the people don't understand, if you're a home run hitter, not every pitch can be hit for a home run. I mean, if you get a mistake over the middle of the plate inside, sure, you can drive the ball out of the ballpark, but that pitch down, low and away, you try to pull that ball, it's a double play and you're out of the inning.
Yeah, that swing there looked more like the Ken Griffey Jr., who was the best all-around player in the game back in the mid-90s.
Here's Austin Kearns.
Can't tell me he just does not love playing against the Yankees. He used to kill us every time he was in Seattle, and I think that he's got a little chip on his shoulder about trying to play well against the Yankees.
Well, it all goes back to when Billy Martin was managing his dad and they wouldn't let him in the clubhouse. He's been holding that against the Yankees ever since then.
It is amazing he has not let that drop.
Right.
You see what Griffey does against the Yankees. Pretty much a season, 311, 32 homers, and 92 runs batted in. Just 117 games. Pettitte goes over to first, nothing doing. He has not had a pickoff in his last 19 starts, which is incredible. You know, you keep hearing maybe he's tipping something. Other people say people are guessing more than guessing right. I think it's almost impossible to guess right 19 straight games, but he has not had one pickoff in that time. The 1-0. Chop foul.
You know, that's not really that surprising to me, because I mean, if I just put myself in the dugout with other teams, you know, a guy's got a good pickoff move. Finally, I'm surprised it took a lot of teams this long. You say, hey, don't get a big lead with his,
exactly.
You know, with his move. It's just like outfielders that have a lot of assists early in their career, and then all of a sudden they say, well, he's only got 2. Well, yeah, nobody's running on him anymore.
Exactly. I mean, you go through a scouting report, that's the #1 thing. If you get on base, don't get picked off.
There's a ground ball to second. Could be 2. Tough hop. He stays with it. There's 1, but not in time. Pulled him off the bag. Everybody safe. Run scores. Game is tied at 1. Soriano kind of got discombobulated with the bad hop and then made a bad throw to Jeter.
And this is the old Andy Pettitte. I mean, he gets what he wants. He gets a ground ball to get out of the inning. It just so happens you get nothing. And then now, as a veteran pitcher, you got to settle down here and try to get another one to get out of the inning. But I mean, he got what he wanted, Kitty, in that double play ball.
Yep. Be interested in looking at the size of Soriano's glove, because he could not get the, he almost had to throw his entire glove with the ball in it. He could not get the ball out of the glove, and that looks like a pretty standard, you know, most of the time second basemen use very, very small gloves.
Pitch to Aaron Boone. There's a strike.
In fact, Joe Morgan, the Hall of Famer, who is here tonight, will be calling the game tomorrow night, had that tiny little glove because on a pivot and on plays like that, you can get the ball out of your glove in a hurry, and Alfonso just could not dislodge the ball from the pocket of his glove.
The second base umpire, Bruce Dreckman, did not give Jeter the neighborhood call. I've seen worse than that called an out, but he called it to the letter. He was not on the bag when he caught the ball, so Dreckman said safe.
You know, Jeter and Soriano work on those double plays in batting practice 100 times a day at least, and the timing, they can do it blindfolded. They can do it in their sleep, and just a little bit of you know, Jeter's out of time, out of rhythm by not getting the ball. We get another one home.
They'll try it again. There's one, and there's two. This time they do turn it, and that ends the inning. A 4-6-3 double play. But the Reds tie the game. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. We've played 4 full at the Great American Ballpark. It's Yankees 1, Reds 1. Well, congratulations to Eric Duncan. Not only did he go to Seton Hall Prep, but he's from Florham Park, New Jersey, so his family's probably watching this game right now. And the Yankees' #1 draft pick. Yankees' first 5 draft picks of the 2003 draft. Outfielder S.D. Harris from Central Islip in Central Islip, New York. Outfielder Timothy Battle from Peachtree City, Georgia. There's a ground ball left side, backhanded by Lopez. He sets and fires off the glove of Casey. It gets away, and Juan Rivera will head to second. That was an awfully nice play by Felipe Lopez. Some reason Casey couldn't come down with the ball. We'll see how they score it.
Man, I can't believe he got this much on the ball. That's some kind of throw.
Strong arm right there.
Well, in the dugout, they'll be saying, well, I hit him in a bad spot right in the glove. He stretched and he closed the pocket too quickly. What a great play by Felipe Lopez. I mean, to get that much on the throw from that position, pretty amazing.
And that is an E3. The assist goes to Lopez, and a really fine play. Now that allows the Yankees to bunt Andy Pettitte. Casey not pleased with himself. Bob Boone, the manager, goes out and talks with Jimmy Haynes. Let me just finish up the top 5 Yankee draft picks. Right-hander Stephen White from Baylor University, and right-hander Corey Stewart from the University of British Columbia. So maybe future Yankees selected today.
There's a scouting report on Eric Duncan. Now, Paul, I remember when you came up and the Reds had a ton of #1 draft picks. I don't remember if you were a first rounder, but
no,
you were what, were third?
Yeah, I was third pick. They had Kurt Stillwell. They had
Tracy Jones,
Ronnie
Cal
Robinson,
Daniels, Larkin.
Yeah, every one of them played on that team too.
At one time, the Reds were such a great organization. They had 7 #1 draft picks all make it.
It's tough for Pettitte to bunt. First and third baseman down his throat, and he popped a foul.
You know, I saw Willie. They had a change there. They went out and talked to the pitcher. Willie called Andy down. Now there's a trick play in baseball where that shortstop will try to beat that runner to third, and that's Andy's job to read the shortstop. If he breaks, you're gonna see him swing the bat, because it's almost impossible to make a bunt. But you know, when you're not in that box a lot like Andy is, he wants to hack at it. He's probably hoping that shortstop runs.
Yes, he's got no chance to bunt that because the bat is way behind him. It's one of the disadvantages of having the designated hitter. I mean, without the DH is such a much more exciting game. Watch where the bat is actually behind him. And in order to bunt correctly, you've got to have the bat way out in front. The old Casey Stengel Butcher Boy play, with the first baseman, third baseman that close. He'd just have the pitcher just chop down on it. And if you do happen to get it towards second base, it's going into center field for a base hit.
It would seem, with the third baseman charging and Lopez playing short, that Rivera could get a good jump and just take off for third.
That's why the shortstop is playing that close to third.
And Pettitte swings and misses. 1 away. Now, I don't know if you guys agree with me with this, but I am so dead set against interleague play because I think there's such a lopsided disadvantage for American League teams whose pitchers never hit. Andy Pettitte is overmatched at the plate.
Well, I agree. You know, but it goes back to 1973. The game never should be played with a designated hitter.
But you know that
designed to do that.
Did you see Jimmy Haynes' swing on Andy Pettitte? You think he was right on that curveball?
Yeah.
Well, that's true, but there are more National League pitchers that know how to hit than American League pitchers.
If you put the American League pitchers in the same position all year, they'll hit just as well.
But that's my point. You don't do that, and it's just unfair that when an American League team goes to a National League ballpark, they lose one of their better hitters, and their pitchers have to hit.
Now here's that swing that you thought Haynes right on Andy Pettitte. Whoa.
Oh boy, they make fun of those pitchers hit. We have to take it.
Jeter hits one through the right side for a base hit. Charging is Kearns. They're going to hold Rivera right there, and the throw is cut off by Casey. So the Yankees have runners on the corners with 1 out.
I don't know if you saw this, but I'd love to see Jeet get a hit with a man on second base. And if we can find this, he's checking to see where the runner is. He's checking to see if he should go to second base on this throw. It's just fundamentally, it's just perfect baseball. He knew he was holding up, so he wasn't going to second.
And the reason Rivera couldn't score, Willie had to hold him up, is I think Juan maybe thought that Castro had a chance at catching that ball, and he hesitated a couple of steps. And Kearns played it perfectly and hit the cutoff man.
You know, I've been seeing a lot of Little League baseball these days, and it's amazing how they can launch that ball over that cutoff man. And boy, then the circus starts, I tell you that.
Here's Matsui. Pitch is outside. Matsui's 0 for 2 tonight, 2 for his last 17. And there's a very strange stat, and the Yankees want to stay away from it right now with the runner on first. He has hit more ground balls than any player in baseball.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's a left-handed hitter trying to pull the ball. That's all that is.
You got that right.
Pitch is 2-0.
He seldom, even if that's a strike, he seldom offers at that pitch. And that's, you know, we talked about it with Giambi, and you saw it with Ken Griffey Jr. He probably wasn't accustomed to taking the ball the other way in Japan. But he might have to learn how to do that here.
If you want the ball in, Kitty, always you hit the ball away a couple of times, they'll throw you the ball in. There's no doubt about it.
Line drive right to the third baseman, 1 away, across the diamond, not in time.
That's where baseball's not fair. That's the part of the game I just never could understand right there. You do everything you're supposed to do, and you still pick up your bat and go back to the dugout man.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, Matsui finally did just what we were talking about. He takes it the other way, but right at Aaron Boone. And good reactions by Jeter. A lot of players get picked off. You don't often see much emotion from Hideki, but he's saying, wow, I finally hit one on the barrel of the bat, and they caught it. That's a big-time hang with him.
Matsui 0 for 3 tonight. Here's Soriano. He made the error in the 4th inning that led in the tying run, so he has a chance to atone. And the pitch is low.
I tell you, Kitty, you get into a rut as a hitter, even when you hit a ball hard, before it even leaves the bat, you know it's going at somebody. And you'll get on a roll where it doesn't matter what they throw up there, it's going to find a hole somewhere, and it becomes so mental. And if you could just forget about everything, I tell you, it's too hard to do because you start expecting things to happen.
That's where it'd be nice to be able to have the speed to just drop down a bunt once in a while.
Popped up, right field. Kearns is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So Jimmy Haynes survives the error. No runs, a hit, 1 error, and 2 men left. The end of 4 1/2. We're halfway through, 1-1. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning, and, you know, O'Neill's here, and he gets stars to come in the booth. Frampton comes alive right here in this booth.
It's gotten so bad you're down 4-1. I got to bring in a pinch hitter for you because you're terrible.
Peter Frampton joins us. How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
How do you know this guy?
Well, it just so happens that we work out, we met at the gym, actually. I lift much bigger weights than he's
I bet you do.
Ever lift.
Peter's been out here before. This is a neat ballpark. This is my first time out here.
Yeah.
You were here opening day. And
Actually, I wasn't. This is my first.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, this is
see,
my...
we're right on the same track then.
That's right. And it's beautiful.
It is.
I got to tell you what, Peter, you walked in, and all I remember is that long flowing hair on the Frampton Comes Alive album.
I thought you'd bring that up. Well, it's okay. I'm over it now.
Pitch to Jason LaRue is swung on and missed. Are you a big baseball fan?
Yes, I am.
And you're singing the Take Me Out to the Ball Game tonight?
Yes, I am. I'm going to sing a few ditties. Yeah, I shall sing that this
It'll
evening.
probably be the first one you get all night, Michael, so
Well,
I'll go ahead and give you that.
All right, so it's 3-2. Fouled away.
Peter, you lived in New York for a while, right?
Yeah, I was in New York for 13 years, up
Lived
in
out
Westchester.
in Westchester?
Yeah, Manhattan was truly my playground, and it still is when I get the chance.
There you go.
We
Now
were up-
you live here now?
Yes, I do. Married a Cincinnati young lady, Tina, and but we went up to New York together, didn't we?
Right.
Went up to see Mr. McCartney.
Mr. McCartney.
Yeah.
Close friend of Peter, so you got to hang around. When you go to concerts, you take a music guy with you.
Listen, I came to Cincinnati. I couldn't even get invited to the O'Neill house for like a barbecue, so I can't
gotta-
drop names like
You got to
you.
go through your publicist. You're getting so big around here.
I like when we went back to see Paul and he left.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Made you feel good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Here's Felipe Lopez as LaRue goes down on strikes. And the pitch is outside. All right, so you live in Cincinnati now. You lived in New York. Who do you like? What team is your team?
Well, I think I have to wear a suit like this guy here.
Whoever wins, Peter, that's who you like.
Well, I'm obviously now I'm in Cincinnati. You know, I'm rooting for the Reds, but obviously for a long time I was a Yankees. I'm still a Yankees fan too.
Manchester United?
Manchester, you know what? I'm not really that much of a soccer fan. Baseball's much better for me.
Right back to Pettitte. 2 away. We go to Juan Castro, the number 8 hitter in the lineup.
Yes.
2 away here in the 5th.
Yeah, Peter, you just finished up. You're putting a new album out this spring?
Hold on a second. I can't take personal calls here, Vinny. I'm on the air right now. What are you doing to me?
See, you bring in a rock star, you just don't know.
I know. Why aren't you here doing my sound? My sound guy's in New York. We got
There
it
you
all
go.
screwed up.
See?
See?
Well, that is live television. Peter Frampton taking a cell phone call.
I've got to go now. Okay, Vinny? Okay, bye.
Tell Benny goodbye for all of us. Here's the pitch to Castro upstairs.
New York's calling.
Oh, so they saw you on the TV?
Yeah.
Oh, good, as long as a Yes Network fan.
When is your new album out? When's it coming out?
Oh, this is good, Paul. Very good. August 26th.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. I'm looking forward to it. I've heard a couple of the songs.
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Are you on it?
I was in the studio during one of them. How's that?
But you're not on it.
I can't play drums that well. You know?
Yes, he can. I saw him play the other night.
Here's the 1-1 upstairs. You still get residuals for Frampton Comes Alive. That was one of the biggest albums ever.
I hope so.
Wow.
I really hope so.
So that's a real leather jacket then.
You got to understand, it's all about money to Michael.
Oh,
It's not
what
just
is this?
That was it
Oh.
to left field. In the ballpark, Juan Rivera. Didn't see it for a while. Now he picks it up. And he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. Peter, thanks for dropping by. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
All right, that's
All
Peter
right.
Frampton. We played 5 here at the Great American Ballpark. Yankees won,
Bye, Vinny.
and the Reds won. Head to Yankee Stadium on Sunday, June 15th, as the Yankees host the Cardinals, and all fans in attendance will receive a 1941 World Series replica pin courtesy of Chase. This is one of the final 3 pins in this memorable 26-piece collection. For tickets, visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops. Call Ticketmaster at 212-307-1212 or log on to Yankees.com. We go to the 6th inning. Yankees and the Reds are tied at 1. Paul, you ever go to that brunch over there, that Sunday brunch buffet?
You know, there used to be a lot of barges, and if they show that picture again, they would park. They were restaurants, but they were barges, and they, you know, if it flooded, they'd close them because you couldn't get into them, or if they went out of business, they'd float them down to Mississippi or something like that to get rid of them, and that's a neat part of the Cincinnati, you know, using the Ohio River.
Now, is it true that people in Cincinnati go over to Kentucky to have fun?
I don't know. I haven't heard that. People like you, maybe, Michael.
Oh,
you know?
yeah, okay.
Tell me, do you like Ohio? I mean, tell me all about it.
I like it, yeah.
Do you?
It seemed nice.
You know, it's so funny. We have friends in New York, you know, the typical New York, and all of a sudden, you know, come to Ohio, and I thought, you know, here we're going to show up, you're going to be in overalls with a plow behind you or something. You know?
I saw some of that today.
No, you didn't. And then they come here, they enjoy it, and they you know, I could live here, right? You know,
no, I couldn't live here. No, little too slow.
Slow.
A little too slow. It's not exactly New York, Paul.
Well, you got Peter Frampton in the booth, you know. What else do you want?
The 2-2, grounded foul. Now, I read the promo, and the Cardinals are coming into town next weekend at Yankee Stadium. You think Tino's apprehensive about his first time back at the stadium?
I think he's excited about it, and I hope the people let him know how important he was, because he was a big part of that run that we had. And you know, Joe Girardi's on that team too. So I mean, those are two good people that still have, you know, their best memories in baseball are still with the Yankees.
Those were, to me, the best Yankee teams during the Joe Torre era. I mean, the team got off to a good start this year, and everybody raved about, wow, is this going to be a great team? This team's short in a lot of areas. And when you look back on the team when you were there, Brocious, Tino, Knobloch before his throwing problems, Girardi meant, whoa, boy.
That was close.
Eddie Montague might have got fooled on that one. Jimmy Haynes threw Giambi a 3-2 hook, and it looked awfully good. Bob Boone thought it was good, too. No, I agree with Eddie Montague. It broke around the plate.
Yeah, that's...
Yep, that wasn't a strike.
I've been called out on that one before, though.
Well, some umpires will call that where he caught the ball, but it broke around the plate. That wasn't a strike.
Here's Posada. He's walked twice, and there's a strike.
Yeah, when you had Tino, and you can just tell when the count was 3-1 to a Yankee hitter and a man on base, you could just book the fact that the guy was going to go. And Joe can't do that anymore because you got a lot of guys that swing and miss. Can't trust him making contact. Not as much speed out there. Of course, you hit and run to stay out of the double play, but this is it's a team that is going to depend on starting pitching and the home run ball, and that might get you the division, but when it comes to postseason play, you're going to need more than that.
Yeah, I think Joe mentioned it a lot last year because it was really the first year they got into the home run ball, and it's a different way to win a game. And where it becomes very a tough way to win a game is when you get into the playoffs and into the World Series, because then you're facing the best pitchers, and let's face it, you're not going to hit a lot of home runs off Schilling and Johnson and Pedro and guys like that.
Nice for Joe to come here to Cincinnati. A lot of his wife Allie, a lot of her family here. In fact, I think he's got quite a contingent of tickets here tonight.
I think the upper deck is his tonight. Yeah. I think they're all family, to tell you the truth. She was from a family of like 17 or something like that.
17 and 14 stayed and raised their families in Cincinnati. Wow. And Joe was actually living here before he got the Yankee job. After he had lost the Cardinal job, he settled in Cincinnati and was living here with he and his wife, and then got the call to manage the Yankees. So another walk to Posada. He has walked 3 times. 2 successive walks to open up the 6th inning by Haynes. Yankees have runners on 1st and 2nd. Nobody out. And that'll bring up Don Gullett, the pitching coach.
Now I want to ask Paul right now. I've heard Kenny Singleton talk about what he would do in this situation, particularly with the bases loaded. But whenever a pitcher walks 2 hitters like that, and then the next guy swings at the first pitch and hits a double play, you know, the fan in the stand says, oh, how could he swing at the first pitch when the guy just walked 2? But I would think from a hitter's standpoint right now, the first pitch 90% of the time is going to be a fastball and might be the best pitch you're going to get to hit.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, the pitcher right now knows he needs to get back in the game by getting ahead of a hitter. And how else by throwing a fastball right down the middle thinking you might be taking it. As a hitter, I mean, when you're feeling good at the plate, there's no reason to go up there and take when you're in a great hitting position like Robin is right here.
81 pitches for Haynes, 46 strikes. This is his 2nd start since coming off the DL. And the pitch. Outside. Kent Merker is warming up for the Reds in their bullpen.
This is a new Kent Merker, Kenny. You'll be surprised. He's throwing sidearm. He's throwing hard, and he's doing a good job for him.
That's a great comeback story from what he had to go through. It's a guy who had a brain aneurysm,
right?
I think. Yeah.
While he was pitching.
While he was pitching, and missed quite a bit of the. He was with the Angels at the time, and he has really battled his way back. Ohio native.
Yeah, he lives. Actually, they just played that the Memorial Tournament up there in Muirfield. That's where he lives. He was a starter for Atlanta for years. Had a great arm, and now he's in the bullpen, and he comes out to to get tough lefties out.
Haynes is one pitch away from loading the bases. Now, do you green light Ventura on 3-0?
No, not at this point.
They do, and he pops it up.
That's why I'm up here.
Behind the plate, LaRue. One away, so a very big out. They green lighted him, and he popped it up. One away.
Yeah, and I thought Robin was one of those hitters that, would be a good 3-0 hitter. But that's the last thing you want to do if you'd rather swing and miss, get caught taking an aggressive swing and miss, or pull it foul. But that's a very disappointing at bat right there to pop foul to the catcher.
There's not too many worse at bats as a hitter you can have than popping up to the catcher.
Yeah.
Check swing to the pitcher.
Yeah.
Or trying to get out of the way and the ball hitting the bat. I mean, that's popping out to the catcher is about as bad as it gets.
Pitch to Mondesi is rocketed up the middle for a base hit. Giambi rounds third. He's heading home. Griffey tries to get the out at third, not in time. Now they're going to get Mondesi hung up. There's going to be a tough rundown right here. Will Posada go? Everybody's safe. And boy, did the Reds box that one. Yankees score a run. They lead 2-1.
Wow. And what the Reds can blame it all on is Jorge Posada.
Yeah, he did a good job over there. That's right. I was watching everybody run around. I needed the TV screen and the field here to figure out where everybody was going on this one.
Jorge comes around, and all of a sudden Griffey says, no, he's not going to third, is he? And I mean, if he makes an accurate throw, he is out by plenty. And then here's where the circus starts. Nobody on third for Casey to throw, and they end up with second and third, and now they have to walk Rivera. Andy Pettitte will get a chance to hit a grand slam.
Don't think he won't be talking to the pitchers if he happens to hit a run in either. Be the highlight of his night.
Well, the Yankees have a 2-1 lead. Griffey standing in center field with his hands on his hips. He cannot believe what just transpired. And Andy Pettitte will come up to the plate with the bases loaded and one out.
Paul was talking earlier about watching Little League baseball and how things happen when you overthrow the cutoff man. And I don't care if it's Little League or big leagues. If you do the ordinary things in an extraordinary way, most of the time you'll play good, solid baseball. And here, Griffey does not throw it accurately. Nobody's on third. Posada would have been an easy out, and the Reds just were out of position all over.
So here's Pettitte. The one thing the Yankees don't want is a double play. The old saying, if you can hit into a double play, strike out. And there's a strike.
Setting them up there, kid.
Yeah.
Taking that fastball right down the middle.
Might be the last fastball he sees.
Pettitte is 0 for 2. Base hit to left center field. Posada scores. Mondesi makes a big turn. Now head back to third, and he's out. Bad base running by Mondesi, and a good throw by Jason LaRue. But an RBI single for Andy Pettitte. The Yankees up 3-1.
As bad as he looked at the plate last time, the funny thing is, though, he saw his curveball.
Yeah.
So it wasn't the first time tonight. Now he hits a curveball with bases loaded, and he puts it in play again.
Wow, and he goes down and gets it about a foot off the ground. So he's got some bragging rights. He'll be chirping in the clubhouse, especially if he goes on and pitches well and the Yankees win. Little bad base running there on the part of Mondesi. Griffey from a shallow position. You can see in the right corner of your picture, Willie Randolph is already holding him up. And Raul rounded the base too far.
They score that 8-2-5. Mondesi out at third. Pitch to Jeter's fouled away. Well, we could see some of what we were talking about. This is not the best fielding team in the world.
Oh boy.
You know, back to Robin Ventura's at bat, and you're talking about the interleague play. Without the pitcher, a couple of guys down the order, you probably make him take. But with the pitcher coming up and a couple of hitters, you know, you try to get these runs in before that pitcher gets to the plate.
That's blooped down the right field line. Fair ball. It's trouble. It's a foul ball.
So it definitely does change the way you manage, change the way you play the game.
It is so much more. I think Joe Torre used the word stimulating. It is so much more what baseball was supposed to be without the DH. And it's a shame that the two leagues couldn't get together. Back in 1973, the National League was very exciting. They didn't need the offense. The American League did.
You know, the way athletes are now, and the way, you know, shortstop, second base used to be just glove positions. Now they're tremendous hitters. I mean, you don't know if you kept that in. You might have some pitchers that are good hitters if they had to do this day in and day out.
Well, the bottom line is, I think a lot of people would agree that it's probably not best for the game with the DH, but there's no way the Players Association would ever give up the DH, because it's the highest average salaried position in the American League. They're not going to give that away, and the National League owners would never adopt it for that reason. The 1-2.
See, and I understand what you're saying, and that is such a pitiful argument on the part of the, if that is true, of the Players Association, because you're costing a couple of utility players jobs, guys that could be, like, say, the Melvin Moras right now, who's doing a terrific job for Baltimore, but those are valuable guys on a National League roster.
Ground ball to second base. Castro gobbles it up, fires to first, and that will do it. Here in the sixth, Yankees get 2 runs on 2 hits, 2 walks, no errors, 3 walks, and 2 men left on base. We go to the bottom of the sixth, 3-1 Yankees. Well, Paul O'Neill said that Andy Pettitte will be talking forever about that big base hit, but after what the base hit took place.
This is what players do. He'll talk about the hit. Clemens and Charlie, the bullpen coach, will talk nothing about his base running skills. Look at this. Oopsie daisy.
Oh, he's trying to stifle a smile there.
Yeah, he's thinking right there, man, Clemens is going to kill me for this.
Well, Willie Mo Pena is going to pinch hit for Jimmy Haynes. So Jimmy Haynes' night is done. It's part of the National League. In the American League, they probably keep Haynes in there to pitch the 7th, but Willie Mo Pena comes off the bench, swing and a miss, out of the Yankee farm system.
Involved in the Drew Henson trade, wasn't it?
I'll never forget the first time I showed up for spring training to watch this kid. He was out there early with the training camp or something. Hit batting practice. I've never seen anybody hit the ball as far as this kid did. It just for a while, as soon as they started putting a curve in it, he couldn't hit it. But he's going to have to. He's got a lot of power, and the Reds are hoping that somehow he can learn to use it.
Looked a little like Hensley Bam Bam Mullins.
Yeah, I remember that well too.
Swing hard in case you hit it.
And the 3-1. Check that. That was the 0-2. It's 3-1 game. Yankees lead.
I thought you were talking about our music. That's like 5-1. I'm winning.
No. It's 3-1.
You're pretty close to being shut out here. Don't worry about it.
And the 1-2. Swung on. Foul tipped. Stays alive. Andy looks like he doesn't want to throw him anything straight.
Don't blame him.
It's so amazing at the major league level. It takes a matter of minutes to figure out how to pitch some of these guys. They come up here with great stats in the minor leagues. They figure out what they can hit, and until they learn to hit it, that's all you're going to see.
Didn't hit it again. Another breaking ball, and one away here at the 6th.
It's the old never give a sucker an even break theory. You know, there are some hitters, and Paul would be one of those hitters where, you know, you have to move it around, change your pattern. But when you see a guy like this with a big swing that doesn't make contact with a curveball, you just throw it pitch after pitch until he finally shows you he can hit it. Here's
Adam Dunn. Dunn is 0 for 2 against Pettitte.
Scrawny little leadoff hitter. 6'6", 240.
You ever bat leadoff?
Yeah, I think Lou got mad at us one day and like pulled his name out of the hat.
Yeah.
I think I was the first one out.
The 1-0.
Bob Boone might be tearing a page out of the Philadelphia book when he was a catcher there, an all-star catcher, and I happened to be on that team, and we had future Hall of Famer Mike Schmidt. Schmitty was a leadoff hitter for a while.
Now, why'd they do that?
Well, you know, Schmitty was before he hurt his knees was not just a home run hitter. He was, you know, pretty good speed. And they just the old theory about trying to get somebody up there that could get you a run like Ricky Henderson to start the game, and that's probably what Booney has in mind.
2-1. He was questioned about why Dunn, and he said, well, look at the roster. Who else?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have a lot of prototypical leadoff types on this team.
See, from a pitcher's standpoint, you'd much rather face a leadoff hitter without power that you can put the ball in play. You know, you're out there, you haven't thrown a pitch yet, you want to start the game, you just want to say, here it is, strike one, strike two, hit a fly ball, hit a ground ball. But now all of a sudden, when you got a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark, that presents a whole different challenge to you. And you know, maybe from Adam Dunn's standpoint, he's going to draw a few more walks.
Look on the other side of the coin where Soriano was leading off for the Yankees. I mean, he comes out. I mean, the pitcher's not even warmed up anything. He makes a bad pitch. It's 1-0 in the first inning, and it kind of sets the tone for the whole game. Now with Bernie hurt, he's down in the 3-hole.
Pettitte winds, kicks, and deals the 3-2. Low and Dunn walk, just like a leadoff hitter should. Hey, Yankee fans, for the latest news, player updates, and Yankee merchandise, visit Yankees.com, the official site of the New York Yankees. So for Andy Pettitte, that is walk number 1 today. And here's Sean Casey. Count 0-1.
Sean Casey looks a little bit like Funny Side will look this Saturday at the Belmont. He's just pawing at the starting gate. Paul, you had a kick with your front foot, but Casey steps up and down with his back foot like he can't get comfortable. I mean, he lifts that thing up and kicks it like there you go.
It's all timing, some kind of timing thing. If you think about the first person I saw do something, you know, kind of crazy at the plate when I was young, and he was just in this booth about an hour ago, was Joe Morgan.
Yeah.
How he used to flip that back elbow down, and boy, it worked for him.
That one's driven out to deep left field, but Rivera's there, and he'll put it away for the second out of the inning.
See, here's the positive side of having a guy like Adam Dunn in the leadoff spot. Even though he's got a 2-run lead, Andy Pettitte respects his power. He ends up walking him, and now you get Ken Griffey Jr. to the plate, and he represents a tying run.
Griffey's 1 for 2. He singled to left center field in the 4th inning. Two players have already joined the 500 home run club this year. And Ken Griffey Jr. with 474. He has to have a big finish to also join it. 10-time Gold Glove winner, 11-time All-Star, the MVP in '97 with Seattle. Grounded to first, but off the foot of Griffey.
Yeah, he's got a few more credentials than the other 500 home run guys. No disrespect to Rafael Palmeiro.
And Sammy Sosa.
Sammy and Fred McGriff will be there soon, but this guy was the whole package. Doesn't have any protective guard there, and he hits it right off the instep.
One. Griffey was always considered to be a surefire Hall of Famer, but then these 3 years of injuries, and now people aren't so sure anymore. I think he's still there. He'll get the 500 home runs, and he certainly has the other accomplishments to go along with it, but he was always thought of as the best player in baseball. Probably not anymore.
Well, that's a nice sequence there. See, he took a lot off that curveball. That might be a pitch that Griffey has not seen from Pettitte. He's seen a normal curve. But that one he took a lot off. It sets him up. Now he can throw that again, or he can come up and in with a fastball.
And the 2-2. Hit sharply and through the right side for a base hit. Dunn stops at second. Mondesi flips the ball into Jeter. So a 2-out single for Ken Griffey Jr. He's now 2 for 3.
Well, Hideki Matsui would do well watching Ken Griffey Jr. Let's see the pitch by pitch. Just inside. Back there again for a strike. Here's the real. This is a ball. Then I think this is the real slow curve. And I think he wants this inside, but he didn't get it in enough. Too much of the plate and down, and boy, he keeps that front shoulder in, and that's what allows him to take the outside pitch the other way and take the inside pitch like that and turn on it.
That's just a good hitter.
Yeah.
I mean, he saw a curveball that as a pitcher you speed it up, come in, and he just.
That one gets away from Posada. He chases it down before it goes into the dugout. So that's a wild pitch, and now the tying run is at second base.
You know, Griffey came here, what, 3 years ago, as we look at this pitch here.
It's like it skipped off the plate, otherwise, because Jorge got a little glove on it, but couldn't pick it up cleanly.
You know, coming in from Seattle sometimes, and I noticed it when I was traded to New York, how hard it is to play at home. And I think he's gone through that coming from Seattle. He's born and raised in Cincinnati, Moeller High School. Sometimes it can be tough to bring your A game to home every day.
The 1-0. That one gets away from Posada. Here comes the runner. He can't get the throw to Pettitte. So Dunn scores, and Griffey stays put at second. Dunn, with heads-up base running, scores the Reds' second run. It's 3-2 Yanks.
Whoa, what's that all about? Let's check this one now. There's again, it's short hop Posada. I don't know if the ball's getting in under him too quickly. See where the glove is. Never does get it down and block it and keep it in front of it. It hops away and then can't find the handle on it.
Didn't hesitate. Dunn did good. I'm looking out here. I'm wondering what happened to Griffey, though. He's still on second base.
Yeah, he should be on third right now.
Yeah, once Dunn took off, well, they were going to try to get the out at home plate. Griffey could have walked into third, but he decides to stay at second. Mel Stoudemire decides to come out and talk with Pettitte. Let's see what happens to Ken Griffey Jr.
Yeah, there's no reason he shouldn't be on third right now.
Breaking ball strike.
2-0 breaking ball when the heat's on, kid.
Right.
Huh?
Well, that's the difference in the big league pitchers and the minor league pitchers. High and tight, low and away, get your breaking ball over when you're behind in the count. Those are all the trademarks of a big league pitcher.
2-1. 3-1. Along with with Jim Cotton and Paul O'Neill. I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball here on the Yes Network, and we certainly thank you for that on this Tuesday evening. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankees lead the Reds 3-2 as the Yankees and the Reds begin interleague play. And the 3-1. Dribbled slowly up the third baseline. Pettitte off the mound. Fields fires off balance. And it's off the glove of Giambi. Here comes Griffey. He'll score. And the game is tied at 3. Ball, runner, and Giambi's glove. A bad confluence of events right there. Came together and he could not hold on to it.
Yeah, Andy Pettitte never got his weight set on his back foot. He throws this off balance, and that's why it was tough for him to throw it accurately. See, 1 foot, and he throws it in, and Giambi and Kearns collide. Joe Torre right now is taking up the argument with Eddie Montague that maybe Kearns was inside the restraining line there and prevented Giambi from seeing the ball. From that shot right there, he certainly looked like it.
I think it got him in the helmet.
Yeah. You're supposed to be within the, which I've never understood because it tells you you have to run in foul territory, but that's what the rule is. And right there, you'll see Kearns is inside that line.
Absolutely.
And
that's just bum luck for a pitcher right there. A little chopper, a couple of wild pitches. I mean, it's just, you got to get over these.
So that scored a base hit and an E1. No RBI, and the E1 allows Griffey to score. So it's a 3-3 game here in the bottom of the 6th. And that one is skied to center field. Matsui is there, and he'll put it away for the final out of the inning. But the Reds tie the game. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 man left. We played 6. Yankees 3, Reds 3. Well, Bob Boone makes the singular call to the bullpen. Singular, the wireless company that fits you best. They pinch hit for Jimmy Haynes in the 6th inning, and now they bring in a guy who has been outstanding for them, Gabe White. And I wonder, Kitty, when you were the pitching coach for the Reds, would you have made that singular call?
Very, very pensive mood right there.
What were you thinking about?
I don't have no idea.
Funny side?
I don't know if I was thinking, but that was in the Reds dugout at Riverfront Stadium back when I was coaching for Peter Edward Rose, and I saw a young phenom named Paul O'Neill come up and get his first big league hit.
And look at what you did. You improved the team ERA from 4.16 to 3.71.
Yeah, well, I don't remember throwing a pitch that year, so I didn't improve it, but I had a lot of good young pitchers like Tom Browning and John Franco, who is now with the Mets, of course, and has been for a long time. Mario Soto. It was fun days.
Pitch to Matsui is fouled back.
And you mentioned would I have made that call. That was the fun thing about coaching for Pete, because when he called me and said, would you like to be my pitching coach, I said, you know, I've got a few ideas. Like, I like to see pitchers throw a lot in 4-man rotation, and as you can imagine,
there's a ground ball to first. Sean Casey, 1 away.
There's another one of those, even though he hit it pretty well, Paul, but there's another one of those kind of pull off, turn the hands over and hit a ground ball to the first baseman, which when you compare that to Ken Griffey Jr.'s approach, watch the front shoulder here.
Yeah, it's especially against left-handers. You really got to stay up the middle and drive the ball, just because their natural movement of the ball is usually away from you. It's just so hard to pull them unless you get the right pitch.
Griffey got a big hit in the 6th inning and scored the tying run. It's 3-3 top of the 7th. Here is Soriano. Gabe White in his last 10 appearances, 0.79 ERA. And this is an incredible stat. He has come into a game 5 times with the bases loaded, and only 1 of those 15 base runners have scored. That's pretty good pitching.
I'll say.
Either lucky or good. We haven't figured that one out yet.
That was fouled away.
He was projected to be a top starter for the Expos when he came up, and he would be the type of pitcher. I don't know, you know, if the Reds in that Central Division are obviously in contention, but he would be the type of pitcher later in the year the Yankees would take a look at. You know, to have a left-hander in the bullpen.
Reds had him once before and traded him to Colorado for Matty Ibar, which turned out to be a bad deal for them. There he swings and misses. Soriano does 2 away. Then they reacquired him, but his salary is a little high for a reliever at 3.5, so they would be looking to trade him for the right package.
See LaRue's target, and the ball's got good movement down and away. Soriano tries to take it the other way and swings over it.
The knock on him when he first became a reliever was that he couldn't get lefties out. Now he gets lefties out very, very well. Jim Bowden, the GM of the Reds, has been told to shave the payroll by $3.5 million. So nice and easy if they get rid of White.
Yeah,
I mean, growing up here, and my kids growing up here, I hope they have a team that's competitive, and I cannot stand when you continually hear about small market in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Because I mean, during the years of the Big Red Machine, when this team was winning, you drew from Kentucky, Louisville, Lexington, Indianapolis, Columbus. I mean, you're talking about 4, 5, 6 million people, and that's not a small market. Within an hour of time.
And there was promises that when there's Jim Bowden, the GM, there was promises that when they built this ballpark, which the city and state built, that they would increase the payroll, and they have not done that. And they also get revenue sharing, and they're not pouring that money back in. The 1-2 just missed.
Getting a lot of revenue these 3 games. Sold out with the Yankees in town. And there's one reason Gabe White probably has turned it around, getting left-hand hitters out. He can run that fastball up and in, and he's thrown Giambi a couple good breaking balls down and away.
2-2 to Giambi. Foul back.
Now there's a good swing.
That's a quick swing. That's a swing that just reacting to the ball, and that's when you really start hitting, is when you just react to what you see.
That's one as a pitcher you say, and a hitter too. You missed that missed being a home run by about 1/4 of an inch. He just fouled it straight back.
Three game, top of the 7th. The 2-2. Soft ground ball, left side. The third baseman, Boone, fires high. And Casey came back down on the bag for the final out of the inning. Lee Mazzilli, the first base coach, not enamored with the call. But it stands. So you score at 5-3, a 1-2-3 inning for Gabe White and the Reds. Take a look. Did he come back down? He's off. And he's on. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Thank you, Fred. The Blue Jays are red hot right now, 9 of 11. And, I actually, and we're going to take a look at Peter Frampton, who we had in the booth before, and a special rendition of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. What's going on there, Paul?
It's not Frampton Comes Alive, is it? Does a lot of things here in Cincinnati. He's done some free concerts for the zoo, and he's a good man.
Pitch to LaRue is outside. Anyway, I was talking to Carlos Tosca today, the manager of the Blue Jays, and he actually seriously considered going to a 4-man rotation, which I know you're a big proponent of.
Wow.
But his pitchers talked him out of it.
Oh.
They didn't think they could handle it physically.
Oh, give me a break.
Bobby Valentine.
6'6", 220, and they're in better shape than ever before, and he can't pitch every 4 days.
Bobby Valentine on Baseball Tonight on ESPN killed Tosca. Why would you go against what's working? Your team's playing well now, and they were dead set on doing it. And then the pitchers, he talked to them on Saturday, and they said, we can't do it.
I understand they're not trained to, but boy, if a pitcher would ever, and they had that shot when I came in here to coach for Pete, which was such a lot of fun. And we mentioned the 4-man rotation.
There's a hot shot through the left side for a base hit. So LaRue leads off with a single.
This will be interesting. Under normal circumstances, you would expect Bob Boone to use the bunt. And he said, I don't have anybody that can bunt. He said, every time I try it, they pop it up. So there's a leadoff single by LaRue. It puts him in position to use the sacrifice bunt.
Possibly their best hitter, Guillen, who's having a great year for him, who that's when Larkin came back, they had to sit somebody, and they put Guillen on the bench. I mean, he's a .330 hitter, right-handed hitter. I'm surprised he hasn't been in yet.
Lopez fouls off the attempted bunt.
Now you see why they don't bunt. I mean, that's just for a big league player, that is just not good technique. I mean, you know, Paul, you're taught to get the bat out in front of you and almost catch it like you got a tennis racket in your hand. Just give with the ball. And you see he's got the barrel of the bat behind him, and then he jabs at it. Very little chance of executing a good bunt that way.
And he offered at it, and it's strike 2. So there goes the bunt. I mean, they might ask him to bunt with 2 strikes.
No, I don't think so. I think Bob Boone's saying right now, I never should have asked him to bunt in the first place.
You mentioned it. You're taught. I don't think a lot of these things are taught in the minor leagues like they used to, because everybody wants to hit home runs. You play for the big inning, and all of a sudden you get in a close game like this, and you can't win a game by moving a guy over.
Yeah, a lot of teams, I don't know how strictly they enforce it now, but I know particularly with pitchers in batting practice, you could never swing until you dropped down 4 or 5 good bunts. You weren't allowed to swing the bat until you showed you could bunt.
You know, it's almost like with basketball now, people know how to dunk, but they don't know how to hit free throws.
Yeah.
And you would think that a bunt would be the easiest thing, the one thing that you should be able to do, and you just don't do it. It's not fundamental. Or it's too fundamental for people to do. It's not something that's cool. It's not going to get you on a highlight tape on SportsCenter. The 1-2 outside, 2-2.
For a while, if you think about it, when AstroTurf came into the game, it was tougher to bunt because it was hard to stop the ball, and I think a lot of people learned to start jabbing at the ball. But on grass, there's no excuse. Put the ball down the line. I mean, right here, you're trying to bunt the ball to Giambi because he's got to hold the runner. He's going to be coming in late, and it's an easy play. But you're right. They're just not taught to do it the same anymore.
So Andy was 0-2. Now it's 3-2. And if he walks Felipe Lopez, well, it's the same event as the bunt. Let's see if they run LaRue. First base coach Jose Cardinal whispering in his ear.
This is where Andy Pettitte's move comes into play.
They don't run him. And Lopez swings at ball 4, 1 away. That's the 7th strikeout for Pettitte here in the 7th inning.
Not a very good at bat for Felipe Lopez. He fails in 2 bunt attempts, and then this is way out of the strike zone.
Trying to make up for those 2 bunts.
And a bat like that will get Ray Almedo in the lineup tomorrow night. And the next option, you got, I think you have the pitcher coming up next with the pinch hitter getting on the on-deck circle would be a hit and run.
And the pinch hitter coming into the on-deck circle is Jose Guillen. So here's Juan Castro. Breaking ball strike. That was the 109th pitch thrown by Andy Pettitte. Take a look at Guillen.
Just warming up, right, kid?
Yeah. It'll rust out before it'll wear out.
The 0-1. Count levels at 1-1. The score is level at 3-3. The hits are level at 5-5. And the Yankees have the lead in errors 2-1.
Mike Lowell, his 18th ex-Yankee, 18th home run. Wow.
His 17th and 18th. He has 2.
It's more than you got in our name that too, Michael.
I have 2. You have 4. We're closing in.
You and Lowell are tied tonight.
Look at Andy Pettitte's average, 100 pitches. His high was 121, and tonight he's at 111. We're in the bottom of the 7th. It's a 3-3 game. And the 1-2. Strike 3 outside corner. Castro down looking.
Boy, and he knew it. We mentioned in the scouting report at the top of the game when we look back at Andy's last start, he has really had the outside part of the plate zeroed in, going back to his last start with Boston and now tonight. Still the best pitch in the game, a good fastball in the outside corner.
Here's Jose Guillen, who failed in a lot of places. Pirates, the Devil Rays, never really found the right place for him, but certainly has done very well. As you can see by the numbers, 336, 10 homers, and 28 runs batted in. But right now, there's no place to play him. It caused a little bit of a stir here in Cincinnati when Ken Griffey Jr. came back. He had to be removed. And he said, why should I be removed? What has he done? Why can't I continue to play? I guess he didn't see the back of Griffey's baseball card.
This is where you talked about the draft today, and it's such an inexact science to try to figure out who's going to be a good player. When I first talked to Gene Lamont, Pirate manager, years ago, when he came up, the words Roberto Clemente were mentioned when you talked about Jose Guillen. That's the kind of talent that he's been blessed with.
Big healthy cut.
I'll tell you, if you watch him throw an infield, he might have the best arm in the major leagues right now. And that's saying something. You got Mondesi out there and right. This guy can throw the ball like nobody else.
But like Willie Mo Pena, when they start throwing those hooks, that's the old equalizer.
You know, as you're a pitching coach, Kitty, I mean, you look at your pitcher, you want him to get the decision. How long do you go with him before you try to get him through the inning so he can get a win somehow? But you don't want to leave in too long. 9 innings.
1-1 outside.
Well, that's what I liked about, with coaching for Pete. He wanted me to do everything, even take the pitchers out. And I said, no, that's the manager's job, because your job is in the balance. But it's all dictated by what kind of bullpen you have, and there's no question right now to get to Mariano. There's just not the quality there in the Yankee bullpen that there used to be.
Best Yankee reliever in the last couple of weeks has been David Wells.
Yeah.
He put on an unbelievable performance on Sunday afternoon. 5 2/3 innings, allowed 1 run after a throw day, and he was unbelievable and helped the Yankees win that 17-inning game.
Well, he was like a starter in that game because he came in fresh. It's just like you're starting a ball game, but you're starting it in the 12th inning or whatever.
2-2. He struck him out on a breaking ball, so Guillen strikes out, and Andy Pettitte strikes out the side. He now has 9 Ks. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We played 7 full here at the ballpark, and it's a 3-3 score. Fans, how would you like to enjoy the feeling of sitting in the same dugout, walking the hallowed grounds, and entering the clubhouse of past and present New York Yankee greats like Paul O'Neill? Get the ultimate behind-the-scenes tour of the house that Ruth built. Individual and group tours of Yankee Stadium are available on a regular basis. For more information on Yankee Stadium tours, call 718-579-4531. That's 718-579-4531. Chris Rietsma is the new Reds pitcher, and he will face Posada, Ventura, and Mondesi. Fans are zeroed in on something for posterity.
Reds bullpen 17-5. The earned run average not very good, but they sure been getting a lot of decisions. I think that's one of those cases where if you're a reliever, you come out of that bullpen, hold them for 1 inning. This is a pretty good offensive ball club, because you see with a 3-2 record, the numbers are not that good.
Fouled away. This ballpark is a sponsored ballpark. Like most of the new ballparks, a company pays money, they get their name on the ballpark, and sometimes it just doesn't seem right. Now, Enron Field in Houston, well, that went by the way when Enron went by the way, and the new sponsor is Minute Maid Park, which doesn't really sound great. It's a nice juice, but it doesn't sound great. But this sounds perfect. Great American Ballpark, and Great American just happens to be an insurance company that's based here in Cincinnati, but you couldn't have a better name.
Yeah, that's terrific.
Pitch to Posada's high. That clock that you just saw modeled after the clock at Crosley Field, and also the dimensions down the left field line, 328, and the 12-foot high wall is also modeled after Crosley Field.
Crosley Field is still open. They've just moved it. There's a community out.
Posada goes down on strikes.
Community out by me in Blue Ash, Ohio, right near Montgomery, where my kids play. And they took the wall out there, the clock. actually took home plate out there. They still have the hill going up to the wall. So Crosley Field, they took it off the river down here, put it out in Blue Ash, and they put Little League fields around it. It's a great area, and they still play a lot of baseball.
Didn't Tim Naring, who's the farm director here now, the ex-Red Sox, didn't he have something to do with building a little Crosley?
He actually built a miniature Fenway.
Oh, okay. Fenway,
after he played with Boston for a while and built a Fenway. But Crosley Field, the actual wall, the numbers are still up. You know, Pete Rose is 14, still leading off. I think he was hitting 299 at the time or something like that. And people in Cincinnati relive those memories day after day because you know that was what brought baseball to Cincinnati, was Crosley Field.
Chris Hammond warming for the Yankees. Didn't they move from Crosley to Riverfront in the middle of a season?
Yeah.
That one is punched out into left center field. Going to be a tough play. Diving, and Dunn makes the play. Taking an extra base hit away from Ventura. 2 down.
Boy, not known for his defense, this is a terrific play. All 6-6 stretched out. Nice effort, nice catch.
Reachma liked it. Here's Mondesi. Mondesi with an RBI single to center. His last time up, that was in the 6th. He's 1 for 3. There's a strike.
Well, I tell you, Paul, when you look at this Reitsma stuff, you say 6.32 ERA. I mean, he's got a good arm, good curve, struck Posada out on a change.
He threw really well last year. He was in the starting rotation. He's got a great changeup, and you know, he throws hard enough that you know, if you look for that changeup, he'll throw the ball by.
Haven't seen many teams do this. Mondesi.
Not at all.
They've shifted the opposite of the Giambi shift. Have everybody over on the left field side of the diamond.
Now, one thing, Kitty, this would not have worked in April, but in May, Mondesi again started pulling up the ball, the breaking ball away, and that's when they've been scouting the Yankees, and that's why they're doing the shift.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he decides to go back to that April stroke right now and hits one somewhere out there in right center, he's got a triple. And the way he hustles and comes out of the box, he might have it inside the Parker.
Right now, he is 5 for his last 36. And his average has dipped down to 293. The 2-2. He pulls off the breaking ball away. And Mondesi down on strike, so Reitsma comes on and pitches a 1-2-3 inning. Also helped from sparkling defense. Adam Dunn, not known for his leather, full body dive, all 6'6", pulls it in. We go to the bottom of the 8th.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. The Yankees are going to make a pitching change, but let's look at Andy Pettitte's nice work first of all, as he piles up the strikeouts. A high fastball, then a low one, then a breaking ball. Got pitcher Jimmy Haynes. Nice cutter on the inside corner. He's got 4 of them. And another breaking ball. Another one. Got Guillen. Lopez. And called strike 3. Actually, Willie Mopena and Guillen. Andy Pettitte with 8 strikeouts. 9 strikeouts. Wow. He's out of the game.
Chris Hammond will pitch to Adam Dunn. Swing and a miss.
I mean, remember back when you were a starter, you go out, I guarantee if you ask Andy, he had great stuff tonight. He struck out 9 people. And you come out of the game with a no decision. I mean, do you feel good? I threw the ball well. I mean, right now you're in limbo.
The only thing that changes it today are the multi-year contracts and the lucrative contracts. There's what Chris Hammond's done this year. More than a hit per inning, good control, strikeout walk ratio. Always think of Chris with that good changeup as being more effective against righties and lefties, but
that's a high fly ball to right center field. Matsui. 1 away.
the difference, Paul, is that's just the way the game is played. I don't, you know, you don't feel good about it. You can say, well, you threw the ball well, but as a starting pitcher, you want to win the game, you know, not only for yourself but for the team. And You know, these are the kind of times where you'd battle with the manager and say, I feel fine. I got good stuff, struck out 9. But the pitch count gets you. You know, some nights you throw 50 pitches and feel like you threw 200. Some nights like tonight, I just looked like Andy could have pitched forever.
Here's Sean Casey, 1 for 3. Andy's the last guy that would think like this. I mean, he might have it enter his brain a little bit, but this is the final year of his contract, and he wants to put up some decent numbers to convince the Yankees to bring him back, and wins do that.
You know, you look at what he's been through, what he's done for the Yankee organization, the big games he's pitched in, and then you realize, what, he's 30, 31 years old?
Yeah,
I mean, he's still so young in his career that he's got so many years ahead of him.
Line drive in the left center field, a classic Sean Casey base hit. Rivera fires the ball in all the way to second base and Soriano. So a 1-out single for Casey. And that is the second hit for Casey. By the way, Andy's going to be 31 on June 15th.
Yeah, and it's an example as Casey comes out for a pinch runner, Reggie Taylor. But it's an example of how Chris Hammond does not quite have that put-away breaking ball to intimidate a left-hand hitter. And particularly good hitters like Casey and now Ken Griffey Jr. He has to be very, very fine with that breaking ball down and away if he's going to get him out.
Well, Reggie Taylor has speed. He leads up first, helped by Giambi. Here's Griffey, 2 for 3. And there's a strike.
Chris Hammond started here. He actually made the Reds team when I was here as a starting pitcher.
That one's lined down the right field line and foul. A lot of people were wondering about the Yankee press conference today at 4 o'clock, and most of the conjecture was around that the Yankees were going to acquire Ken Griffey Jr. for Jeff Weaver.
I got a call on the phone today.
That was the big thing.
That's what was floating around. I heard it all the way down in South Florida.
He's in pinstripes. They're just red.
I always thought that would be the perfect fit. He has the perfect swing for Yankee Stadium, but he never wanted to come here.
Yeah, he got there isn't too many stadiums that he doesn't have a perfect swing for.
Probably Fenway.
No, he could hit. He'd pepper that wall. Believe me. Be as good a hitter in Fenway as he would any place up, maybe better.
I remember the home run hitting contest in the All-Star game that year. You know, everybody, McGuire, everybody. The right-handers are going to Green Monster. Griffey won it.
Yeah,
you know, he pulled the ball
in
right.
Boston.
Yeah, in Boston.
Yeah.
That was some All-Star game. Ted Williams throwing out the first pitch. Swung on and missed, and Griffey down on strike. So a big strikeout for Chris Hammond.
Mentioning that Chris has to be perfect, and he was. Yeah, that one is knee-high outside corner. He gets by with a couple upstairs. Fouls that one off, and then this one is just a perfect spot. When you're ahead in the count, it looked like a strike, and he expanded the zone and got Griffey to chase a bad pitch.
Not too many people have the ability to throw back-to-back changeups. Hemi, I don't know if he changes speeds on it, but he'll throw you over and over the same pitch. And usually, as a hitter, once you've seen it once or twice, you can zero in on it. But he's able to do it.
Austin Kearns at the plate. 3-3 game. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. Now, speaking of Ted Williams, Paul, there's a book that David Halberstam has out called The Teammates. You see where Austin Kearns stands RBI-wise in the National League, where when Ted Williams was dying, his friends went down to visit him, and they all got together, and he kind of revitalized him talking about baseball. They were talking about the best hitters in baseball. And Ted Williams said, you were one of the best hitters in baseball.
He was, I don't know what there's just a few people that play the game. Doesn't matter what part, when they played. I mean, you think about Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, that everybody idolizes. Just the kind of people they are. They just, I mean, when you went into Fenway Park the first time I walked in, I thought, man, Ted Williams played here. And it was, you know, he was just one of those guys.
Runner goes. There's a strike, and Austin Kearns is down looking. Obviously looking for something else. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We played 8 at the Great American Ballpark. We got a Great American baseball game. Some changes defensively for the Reds. Taylor takes over in left field, and Adam Dunn moves over to first because Sean Casey had been pinch run for. And the pitch to Juan Rivera is low and inside. That has to be one of the most embarrassing things for a hitter. The bat cracks and you've got cork in it.
Especially if you're you know, like it happened to Albert Bell and now Sammy Sosa, guys that, wow.
Right to Castro.
Ball was scalded.
Paul, well, how do you think that reflects on Sosa, that the bat cracked and there's cork in it?
Well, now you're going to have to explain how many, you know, if any, were hit that way. Now it's opened a whole can of worms. I mean, people are going to talk about, you know, how many did he hit with these bats and this and that. And it's just, I mean, this guy's strong enough. He can hit the ball 500 feet with a wood bat without anything in it.
Well, we will certainly follow that. It's a shocking story. Yankees now send up Todd Zeile to pinch hit for Chris Hammond.
Your comment earlier, Michael, about the designated hitter. Now the Players Association wouldn't go for it because it's such a high-paid position, but you have a game like tonight, really points out how valuable those guys on the bench can be. And I always thought that was a weak argument, that they say, well, the DH is not one of the high-paid positions, but yet it's costing a lot of good utility players jobs.
I guess the other side of the argument, though, would be, well, Edgar Martinez wouldn't have a job, and Chili Davis wouldn't have had a job.
Well,
they would have. I mean, Chili was a position player to start with, and they either learn to play a position or you hide them somewhere. You know, it's a catch-22. Are they good enough hitter to be able to hide them in? You know, in Little League, you always hit them in right field.
Put the fat kid in right.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what distorts some of the records when you start talking Hall of Fame. The guys just did it as a DH. Mays and Mantle and Aaron didn't, you know, do it as a DH. And whether you were hurt or whether you were bad feel or whatever, you had to play both sides of the ball.
If you look at the way teams are set up now, I mean, you can go in the bullpen and they're doing the same thing. I mean, you've got a guy out there that
He blew a fastball by Zeile, 2-away.
got a sidearm lefty out there that has no chance of getting anybody out except for that left-handed hitter who they bring in to face, and then they get him right out of there. One of those guys got me out for Jesse Orosco, and he's still pitching, 44, 45 years old.
Jesse Old Roscoe.
Yeah.
But 46.
As a team, can you afford to carry that guy in the bullpen that can only get one guy out?
If you want to win, you can. You carry less starting pitchers, or maybe more specialty. You know, 4-man rotation, you have more specialty pitchers like that.
Pretty dramatic moment for the new Yankee captain to come up. 2 outs in the 9th inning. Yankees and the Reds are tied at 3. Jeter tonight is 1 for 4, extended his hitting streak to 9 straight. Tries to check his swing. He cannot. The count 0-2.
Yankees got to be thinking how this guy comes out of the bullpen. He's throwing the ball well.
Man, I'll say.
Usually tell how a guy's thrown by some of the swings that come off. You haven't seen too many good ones.
The 0-2. He struck him out. Took something off that one, and Jeter way out in front. So Rietsma has pitched 2 innings, and he struck out 4 Yankees. 6 in a row, 1, 2, 3 here in the 9th. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Last slicks for the Reds. If they don't score, extra innings, 3-3. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. It's time to take a look at the play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Yankees. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right.
Right out in the left field gap. Good green grass to dive on. Great play.
Adam Dunn robs Robin Ventura, and that is the Continental Airlines play of the game. And he's not known for his defense, but right there he did a great job. So Antonio Osuna is the 3rd Yankee pitcher. Chris Hammond pitched the scoreless 8th inning. Andy Pettitte went the first 7, and now Osuna will face Boone, LaRue, and Lopez. And Osuna's done a nice job out of the bullpen for the Yankees. 18 games, 1-1, with a 1.66 ERA, about a hit an inning, 13 walks, 19 strikeouts.
I'd say the Reds have won a lot of games late, and this guy's been responsible for a lot of them.
Here's a guy who was player of the week, hit 3 home runs in 1 game. And just like his dad and his brother, Brett, he's a free swinger. You get anything middle of the plate in, up. He might not hit it, but he's going to be taking a healthy cut at it.
Well, the Reds have 27 wins, and 14 of the 27 have come in their final at bat.
He's hit 2 or 3 home runs. I've seen him on the news, man.
They've recorded 6 walk-off victories, with 6 different players producing the game-winning run. Boone with a solo home run against the Reds on May 5th. That one's popped up foul out of play.
Funny thing about Aaron Boone, when I saw him before the game, he did about 3 or 4 imitations for me of the Phillies players when his dad and I were teammates. When he was like 5 years old, and his brother Brett always was on the baseball field, but Aaron never showed a lot of interest in baseball. When he was really more of an actor than a ball player.
It's amazing to me to have a father that plays baseball. Then you grow up as kids, and who's to say you're going to be a good player? But,
yeah.
But these guys are, I mean, Brett Boone, Aaron, but these guys are good players in the major leagues.
And then they get the opportunity to manage your son. The 1-2. He struck him out. Nice tight breaking ball diving down and away. Hey, after the last out, keep it here for the Nissan postgame with Fred Hickman and Susan Waldman, featuring detailed analysis of tonight's game, interviews with players, plus scores and highlights from around the league. The Nissan postgame immediately following the game right here on Yes. Here's Jason LaRue. Swung on a miss.
And the tendency, Paul, when you look at a team like the Reds, who do hit a lot of home runs, and I think the tendency when it's a tie game, close to extra innings, everybody wants to end it with a home run. You can kind of tell by these swings.
That one's hit deep to left center field. Going back, Matsui. Also Rivera. He leaps us off the top of the wall. Matsui plays the carom and holds it to a double, and that missed being a game-winning home run by a couple of feet.
I was just going to jump on that point, Kitty, and as a hitter, you try to just stay away from that. You try to get that out of your mind, because if you're trying to hit a home run, it's nearly impossible. I mean, he gets a good pitch to here and he drives it. Matsui makes a great play there. I mean, he doesn't know this ballpark. He gets a ricochet off the wall and keeps him at second, and they still need a base hit to score him.
Yeah, that's a good point. That subtle little play by Matsui keeps that double for the Yankees and not a triple. It just missed going all the way.
Just under the yellow line. Here's Felipe Lopez, who'll bat from the left side against Osuna. Just missed.
Sets up an interesting situation, because Lopez not known as a power hitter, so you note how shallow the Yankee outfielders are playing. So all 3 would have a shot at throwing LaRue out at home on a single.
Outside. (3-5-2) for the Yankees, 3-7-1 for the Reds. 2-0. There's a strike. 2-1.
You say they're playing shallow now. If we happen to see one out with a man on third, they'll bring those outfielders all the way in. Your only responsibility is to be able to throw that guy out on a fly ball.
And the 2-1. 2-2.
Lopez having one of those nights you remember at the plate. Huh?
He's 0 for 3.
I think most of his season has been like that, unfortunately, because the Reds gave up a real good pitcher to get him. Elmer Dessens might have been their best pitcher last year.
2-2. 3-2. Juan Castro's on deck. The winning run 180 feet away. Sellout crowd of 41,827. He struck him out. Hat trick for Lopez. His third strikeout of the night. He's 0 for 4.
Don't know that he's throwing a strike yet.
No. Andy Pettitte got him on a pitch like that out of the strike zone, up and away when he was on the right-hand side of the plate, and the same thing here. He really looks overmatched against big league pitching.
And you can see why Bob Boone dropped him out of the leadoff spot. Next step, getting dropped out of the lineup. Here's Juan Castro. And the ball gets past Posada, but staying put is LaRue. Castro was waving him the third. LaRue did not want to risk it. Remember when Bernie Williams was struggling when he first came up? You'll take a look at this ball trickling past Posada, and they kept dropping Bernie down in the lineup, and finally Bernie was batting 9th, and Brian Butterfield, who was one of Buck Showalter's coaches, walked up to Bernie and said, "You know what's next?"
Yeah.
And that kind of turned Bernie around. 1-0 upstairs.
Eager to talk to Posada tomorrow about the dirt here at around home plate, because he has had about 3 or 4. You know, usually catchers they can scoop it on one hop, or at least keep it in front of it, and he has not been able. They're taking some unusual hops around that plate. That might be very firm around the home plate area.
Punched out down the right field line. Giving it a look is Mondesi, but it's out of play. LaRue's at second. 2 outs are in the bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees and the Reds are tied at 3. Yankees with a run in the 2nd. Reds answered with a run in the 4th. Then the Yankees had 2 in the 6th, and the Reds came back with 2 in the 6th. That's where we stand right now at 3-3. The 2-1. Punches it out toward first base. Fair ball. Past the diving Giambi. Here comes LaRue. He'll score. And the Reds win the game. A base hit just past a diving Giambi inside the first baseline by Juan Castro. And the Reds beat the Yankees in the series opener by a score of 4-3.
Last at bat. Reds famous for it.
You know, you get breaks through the season. You know, some seasons you get the break. Well, tonight, the game of breaks, the Yankees lost, and they end up losing the game on a kind of a fluke hit right over the bag.
But I'll give Castro credit for this. We talked about everybody wants to end it with a home run, and he knew all he could do with that pitch. I mean, it was a strike. Just put the bat on the ball. Sometimes you get rewarded for that.
A cue shot right down the line, just over the bag, and Giambi couldn't even knock it down.
Goes back to just when you're not playing good baseball, every mistake you make defensively shows up, and that's what happened tonight, going back to the potential double play ball that Soriano couldn't get out of his glove, and then the wild pitch and Pettitte's throw to first base. When things are going your way and you score 6-7 runs, those all get lost in the box score, but not right now. Every mistake is showing up, and some of the weaknesses of the Yankees are showing up. Boy, this is postseason atmosphere for the Reds right here.
An elated bunch of Cincinnati Reds as they start off their interleague set with a win over the New York Yankees. So Juan Castro with the big base hit. A wasted performance by Andy Pettitte, who pitched very well over 7 innings. But the Yankee bullpen gave up a run in the bottom of the 9th inning. Yankees lose 4-3. We'll come back and wrap it up and then lead you to the postgame.